Wow. We exist. Huzzah. I know ads are still running, so... That's okay. That would have been great, though. I didn't know when I was planning on streaming today, honestly. Usually I stream around 4 in the afternoons, just because that gives me a bit of time to eat lunch and do things, but I got excited today, and I kind of want to do a longer stream if I can, so... That's right, you hop back on stream and you raid. You raid right now. A lot has happened since the last suit stream. Baby Mans has gotten the fur everywhere. So, for starters, I bought E6000 and I glued the shoes on over the weekend. They're cured, so now we can finally actually finish doing all of the feet paws. But while I was waiting for the cure, we ended up doing the duct tape dummies. So this is my corpse dangling here, which you guys can't really see. Here, hold on. I missed the wide camera. I don't know why it changed. I missed when the camera was bigger. I can't make it, like, zoom out any further than it is. It's stupid. I missed when it used to, like, show half the room on screen. But we got my corpse dangling here, and I patterned off of that to get my bodysuit, and then I patterned the fur and all that, so that's all ready to go and be sewn. But a lot of that's gonna be sewn on the sewing machine, so it's probably gonna be done mostly off stream. I don't even know how all the pieces go together, to be honest with you. They just exist. But today is a feet paw day. I've got the hot glue gun plugged in. So these are Noah's. These are the 900 shoes. Which means we need the white ones. It's very important that we put the right colors on the right bases, because otherwise we'll have the wrong size shoes in the wrong size feet. On the wrong feetses. Yes! He doesn't get a say in the matter. He'd be getting a suit. I have decided to make him one. Hence the twin suits, because really what it was is I wanted another suit, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted, and then I realized it would be cooler if they were a set of twin suits. So the one pictured down in the bottom corner is my version, and his is the mostly white version instead, so the white feetses. If you know the game Detroit Become Human, that's what they're based off of. So we're doing the RK800 and the RK900s as furries. Because why not? Why not? I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to finish these like I hope. It's a really good game. I haven't had a chance to play it myself, and I'm kind of mad because it's got such a good story and everything else. But also, I don't own a PlayStation. I own a PlayStation 2, which cannot play it, obviously. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish these, because my clipper blades just got sent out to be sharpened, and my backup clipper blades are really dull too, so we might have to wait a couple weeks. Hopefully they get back in time before MCFC. Otherwise, I'm just going to take Forrest's hair clippers and do the job, which I don't want to do because that'll make his hair clippers dull, which we don't want. And I don't want his furry dog fur hair clippers on my suits, but it's a personal suit, so I'm willing to use the dog clippers on my own suit. I wouldn't do it on a commission, you know? But at the very least, we can get these glued and get their cuffs sewn. And then go from there. We're gonna make progress, damn it. And our hot glue's hot. Hooray. Hi, baby mans. He's just decided to come over here and stand by me. Yeah, I don't think my fiance's quite as enthused about the suits as I am. But he is excited to be going to the con. This will be his first fur con. So we're gonna spoil him. He's just excited to go places, really. He wants food. He's hoping we'll get to go out to eat while we're down there. Which, I mean, we will. There's a couple restaurants that I hope to go to after the con. Or even during the con. Like, we'll be in town. But, yeah, so I got a lot. I have a really bad tendency of doing all of the work for these off of stream. But it's also kind of hard to do stuff on stream just because, like, my sewing machine is loud as shit, right? So if I'm sewing, you guys, first off, are going to go deaf. And I'm not going to be able to talk over it because that's how loud it is. I mean, that's up to you if you skip dance comp. I never do any of that stuff because I can't dance. Best I've got is the Cupid Shuffle. But outside of that, I can't dance for shit. So, I don't do any of the dance comp stuff. But I mean, like, if it's too much of a hassle, you know, if it's just stressing you out, there's no real point in you doing all this stuff for something that's stressing you out at what's supposed to be like a fun event, you know? If it's giving you all this extra work and burning you out just to do it, it might not be worth doing it for the con this year, you know? But I think I saw dance comp once. Right. I imagine it would be pretty similar to previous dance comps. A lot of dance comps are set up fairly similarly. I don't know why that was such a hard word for my face. Good lord. You know, like as far as like floor space and stuff goes. And I know MCFC used to put down the matting at the last venue. I assume that's theirs and not the venue's matting. So they probably brought that for the new venue too. So it'll probably be pretty much the same aside from being in a different room. It is the Connor Pupper. Hello, hello! We are doing two of them. We are doing the RK800 and the RK900 as a set of twin suits. Right now we're working on the 900's feet paws. Because I have to glue them on. Hello, hello, we are doing good. We're talking about the upcoming con that we're actually going to in Detroit. Because we go to that one every year. And they changed their venue this year to the Renaissance Center. So we will actually be down there for the con this year. In literally 30 days. I'm trying to get these suits done in time for it. And we're pretty close. All that's left to do is the feet paws and the body suits. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Their heads are done, their hands are done. Detroit, exactly. I was like, I got it. If I'm gonna do these suits, I have to get them done. Thank you for the follow! I have to get these suits done in time for the literal Detroit Fur Con. Like, it's the only one. I gotta do it. And then, of course, if we're down there for the con, we're gonna do lots of photos and videos and stuff, hopefully. So it'll be it'll be lots of fun. Like, I gotta debut them in Detroit. It would be silly not to. The only downside is I can't get on the rooftops in Park Plaza. I can't be dramatic. But we'll definitely get some photos by the river, and by some of the historical markers around there and stuff. We'll get photos by Canada. It'll be a lot of fun. But we're trying to get these done in time. Fingies crossed. I'm trying not to burn myself with this hot glue because it's really liquidy right now. And it's a case of, like, I gotta put enough on there to actually adhere it. But not so much that, like, it oozes out all over the place, you know? Like, we don't want that. Thank you! Love watching folks build their suits. Contemplating a raccoon one day. Ooh, yes! Raccoons are always fun. I haven't had a chance to make one myself, but I love seeing the raccoon suits that other people make a lot. Like, they're such a vibe, you know? They're just such a vibe. But it's a lot of fun, not gonna lie. Oh yeah, cars are important. You gotta be able to drive to work and all that stuff. I know it. That's always the big thing. Like, there's always some sort of big expense, and it's like, gosh darn it. That's kind of how I got into fursuits. Like, I know a lot of people, like, start fursuit making just because they can't afford to commission their suits, so it's generally cheaper to make it. Because the materials usually cost around, like, $300 to $500, depending on where you buy it and what you're doing. I got into it because YouTube dared me, basically. YouTube decided to show me a video on my recommendeds page, and I was like, I can't do that, I could do that, I can't do that, so I did that, and I've just been doing it since, and now it's my full-time job. But I totally get the whole having to pay for cars and bills and all that other adulty type stuff that has to happen. My big thing is taxes. I'm always having to pay some sort of taxes, whether or not I like it. Very annoying, not gonna lie. Stupid taxes having to be paid. But I got the toes glued on now. It looks really sad. Don't mind how sad it looks right now. These are plush paws, so they're going to be stuffed with polyfill later, and they'll look a lot better. Oh, in the UK. Oh, I bet it. So, I am based out of the US. I actually do live in Michigan, so I'm about 2 hours from Detroit. A 2-hour drive from there. I pay about 30% of what I make on fursuits just in taxes. Just in income taxes. Once when you put in sales tax and all the other expenses and stuff, you do not make a lot of money off of suits here. Despite how expensive they are, it is very expensive to do them as a job. But I know all about the overseas taxes. That stuff's nuts. I lived in Germany for a while, and they've got just as much taxes. I mean, at least, like, sales taxes rolled into things, you know. That's the thing that annoys me over here, is, like, you come back here, and sales tax is on top of the price everywhere. And I'm like, that's bullshit. I should know how much I'm paying from the get-go. So, I roll taxes into my prices, the sales tax, because, like, it doesn't change. It's 6% here. At least in Michigan. It's 6% in Michigan. But yeah, no, it's expensive. But that's mostly... So here's the stupid thing. The only reason I pay that much in income taxes is because it's my own business. If I were working for a company, my income taxes would be half as much. Literally, it would be literally half. It's called self-employment taxes. Because I am doing my own job for myself, I have to pay the government more. It's dumb. I don't like it, but you know, it's just how it works over here. Exactly. Make it make sense. None of it does. This is America. Nothing we do makes sense. I'm not a fan of it, and I don't think many people are. Hello, Baby Mance. Can I help you? This is Baby Mance. You can't see him because he's off screen, but he's my poodle puppy, and he's throwing a fit. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter what you make here. You're paying self-employment taxes and stuff like that. But, like, there's the tax bracket, so if you make more, you pay more type deal. I'm in, like, the bottom bracket, so either way, I'm paying more than a lot. Boop the Baby Mans. Boop, 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 boop. You're getting booped. Hello, baby. This is the baby man's. No more giraffe baby man. No, he got his little hair ties out this morning, but we'll probably put him back in later. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Yes, hello. Because a lot of times we do his little hair ties and his hair just into his eyes without him, so. Yeah. Yeah, so you just go blind. You go blind because your top knot droops. Your top knot droops. Hello. Can you go lay down, please? Can you go lay down? No, this is... So his name is Forrest. We call him Baby Mans because he is the baby. And he is a needy baby, as you can see. He just wants attention all the time. I'm trying to do my job, buddy. No. Yucky. Don't lick me. Go lay down. Go on. I don't want to have to use my mean voice. Forrest. Go lay down. Go. So, go lay down, bud. I love you, but lay down. Now he's looking like I kicked him. He's over there like, why don't you love me? Why won't you pay attention to me 24/7? Big baby. We also have the Bingus. She's in her chair over here in the corner. She's 11, so she's old and she doesn't do much. Would you, sir? Fuck off, please. What do you want? What? You gotta go potty? Son of a bitch. I let them out right before streaming everything, too. Hold on. We will be right back, and I'll run an ad in the meantime, so it won't cut us off here in a bit. There we go. I do! Alright. Are you gonna go lay down now? Little butt. We're back. I know the ads are still running. We're waiting on the ads to finish, cause I took that. Oh, where's Patch's head? It's probably still in the trunk. I think Patch's head is still in the trunk. So I do crochet. I crochet quite a bit, actually. That's what I started out with years ago. I've been crocheting since I was a little kid. I did it professionally for a while for a business. That did not work out, unfortunately. And then shortly after, I started making fursuits. So the first thing I did was make my Sona on accident, actually. He was supposed to be a pre-made, and then he just kind of stuck, so... and I made Patch the Coyote, who has crochet on his face and on his beans. And he's just kind of stuck around since. Oh shoot. But yes, I love crocheting. I kind of tripped and fell into that job too, honestly. It was for another local touristy town around here. They have there's a yarn shop. And I just applied because they sell yarn. You know, like, why not? So I applied, and as soon as I mentioned, oh yeah, I crochet, they got so excited because everybody there only knew how to knit. And they needed someone to teach crochet classes. So they were like, oh, well, how long have you been doing it? I was like, oh, well, since I was 9, like, I do it all the time. And they're like, okay, great, perfect. And then they were like, oh, well, how long, like, since... I was like, yeah, so, you know, about 10 years. And they're like, oh, only 10 years? Like, that's it? And I'm like, that's a decade. And I'm not talking like a decade of, I crochet once or twice during the weekends. I'm talking like, I took that shit with me to school. And I crocheted in class. 24/7 crocheter. Like, I took that shit serious. So they... bunch of old ladies that were very... Yeah, exactly. Only 10 years. In what other job is only 10 years? You know? Like, 10 years of experience is a lot. And that was 6 years ago. So... it's ridiculous. It's actually probably a bit more than 6 years ago. Because that was 2018-ish, I want to say. Yeah, 2018. It was the winter of 2018. I've only worked there for like 2 months. Unfortunately. So, 8 years ago now. So now it's been almost 18 years of experience. Just crochet. Trying a 1950 shawl and I'm struggling. Yeah, the biggest thing with like a lot of the shawls is the patterns are really hard to read. And if it's a really lacy shawl, it can get real complicated. It also depends, like, are you working in rows or rounds? And I don't know. When I started crocheting, the first thing I did was try learning amigurumi. That was a mistake. Do not start off with amigurumi. I recommend that to everybody. Like, start off with something simple. Start off with something that works in rows, and then once when you've got that stuff down, start with rounds. Because, oh my gosh, I was so confused by the concept of a circle. You would not believe it. My original starting out stuff was trash, but I love crochet. It's one of the things that's... It's one of the few things that has stuck around since forever, you know? Woo! Gotcha, I see. There was... Oh, you'd probably like this. It's not crochet, but it's along the lines of it. On Ravelry, a few years ago, like before AI got really big, someone did what they call Skyknit. And essentially they just fed a AI training program a bunch of knit patterns and then saw what the AI would come up with. And of course the AI just shat out a bunch of trash patterns. But it was very cool to see like all of the patterns that were fed into it and how it trained it, because they did not steal the patterns. They were actually all like specifically donated. They requested people to donate patterns that they could use for training the AI, which is nice. So yes, it was really cool to see that. So like they tried getting it to do... The issue is they fed it a lot of different knit patterns, patterns for hats, patterns for shawls, scarves, all kinds of stuff, stuffed animals. So of course it was spitting out random. It'd be like, oh, knit 1, purl 1, cast on 1038, knit 7 turn. Like, and then it'd be like, okay, knit 3, purl 1, skip 1, turn. And it's like, wait a minute, what about those 1,000 that we just cast on? A lot of them did not make sense, but there were a few patterns that came out that people were able to actually modify to be functional, at least a little bit, and there were people that actually knitted up some of the patterns and posted the project photos, and they turned out really funky, and it was just really cool to see. But that was back, like, early 2020-ish. Like, it was years ago now, and of course now everybody's just shitting out random AI from a bunch of stolen works. It's not great, you know. But yeah, no, the Skyknit thing was an amazing joke. I was like, ah, and they're like, we're gonna do a crochet one too, but this time we're gonna be specific and we only want patterns for hats. And I'm like, really, hats? You're gonna go with something that has to be a certain shape? But and I never heard anything about the crochet version since. But I also haven't looked into it since, so I don't know where they got with it. But I go on Ravelry a lot looking for, like, ideas, patterns, stuff like that for things. Especially since I post my own patterns there. Because Ravelry is Ravelry. It has everything. It's got, like, the AO3 system of filtering, too, which I love. Like, there's so few websites that filter as well as AO3 and Ravelry. My gun is just oozing hot glue out the bottom. I think I need to switch to the new gun. That sucks. Oh well. This gun's like 5 years old now anyway, so I'm not worried about it. I got it for $5, so. And I've got 2 or 3 other hot glue guns that I need to use. In fact, I have one that's battery powered. I just don't use it. It was a Christmas gift, but I haven't had this one die yet, so I didn't open it yet and haven't used it. Same goes for the other one. I got another one that's almost just like this, that was also cheap, that I haven't opened and used yet, because this one hasn't died yet. But if it's just gonna ooze hot glue out the nozzle, I think I'm just gonna have to finally call it dead, because that's just a waste of hot glue. Waste not, want not, and all that jazz. And that's one Tootsie glued on. Probably need to go back around and double check all my edges. You would think, but because like I glue so much stuff. But like I said, this hot glue gun lasted me the last 5 years, and it's a cheap looking frickin' hot glue gun, you know? Like, literally it's the cheapest one they had at the store. And it's, aside from, like, the low-temp hot glue gun that I bought when I was first learning, this is the only glue gun I've had since I started making fursuits. Like, it works pretty damn good. It's just now it's getting old, and, well, it's a bit slow to heat up these days, too, which sucks, but it still gets there. It just takes its time. Needs a little blue pill is all. Let's see. I'm just going around my edges and checking for any holes that didn't get fully glued in properly. I'd rather the glue ooze over onto the bottoms than not, because then if a rock hits it and gets into that little hole, it'll rip the fur off, which we don't want. Whereas if there's just an extra glob of glue on the bottom, that's bonus traction, really, which we definitely prefer. And then, of course, there's parts like these seams here, where the fabric folds, that we kind of want to make sure get glued down so we don't get rocks and dirt inside of them. It didn't come with the stamp, really? It's the, I think it's called AdTech, is what it is. But yeah, no, I thought they all came with that, because it's like a safety hazard not to. It's a fire hazard. Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish off this stick. And then switch to the new hot glue gun. I'm gonna call this guy Dead. Rest in peace, hot glue gun. Alright, that's all that's coming out of that. Oh, death to the glue gun. Rest in peace, you've served me well. Very good glue gun. And now we get to open the new hot glue gun that we got 3 years ago that is also an AdTech glue gun. It's just the white version. Yeah, I see this one doesn't have the stand physically on. I saw it in the package, though. Oh, there it is. It's wrapped up in the wires. Yeah, the little stand comes in the bag separate from the glue gun for some reason. Ripperoni Gunneroni. That's perfect. I love that. Premium full high temp. Cool. Yeah, my first hot glue gun was a mini low temp gun, so it was awful having to refill glue every 30 seconds. Yeah, it's the exact same. I love it. Perfect. I'm a weirdo and I don't like change when it comes to things like that. Oh yeah, it's yuckies. I know it. Some of them smell fruity almost with hair. Like, depending on what brand you get, some of the hair dyes smell fruity. Which I don't... That weirds me out. I feel like chemicals shouldn't smell like coolant. Like, it's not great. I haven't dyed my hair in forever, though. And the last time I dyed it was when I dyed it yellow for a bit. There we go. Let's see how this bad boy works. I will say, I think I got lucky with the last hot glue gun lasting 5 years. I don't think they normally last that long. Like, specifically for the cheapos. Like, I don't think they normally manage to last that long. But I do have a really nice hot glue gun, so we'll see how long this one lasts, and then we'll break out the really nice fancy one. There we go. See, I'm a little sad at the leftover hot glue stick. Whoa! That's still in this gun, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it, because it's just kind of in there. You go bonkers without the hair dye. See, I never got too into it. I don't like the fake colors. First off, so we have bees in the spring, in the summer. Like, not honeybees. I'm talking, like, hornets and yellow jackets. Wasps. And for some reason, they really like me to begin with. And I have found that whenever I dye my hair, it's 10 times worse. And as much as they might like me, I do not like them. So, I usually don't have my hair dyed in the summer. But also, like, I'll never paint my nails or anything like that, just because it weirds me out seeing it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, it's just my hand. Like, it's a whole thing, so. But also, hair dye is expensive. It's very expensive to dye hair, at least over here. Even if you get the cheap stuff, it's still like $20 a box. And I don't have $20 to spend on hair dye at the moment, so we just be vibing with the natural hair. And I don't think it's getting there, but it's not. There it goes. I was like, it's not quite to temp yet. I'm also an idiot who touches hot things with their bare fingers, so. 'Tis me, the dumbass. Where was I on this foot? I know I was filling up a hole somewhere. And then I'll stuff it so that way you guys can see what the final foot will look like, hopefully, once when we actually get everything finished. Because like I said, it'll get stuffed with polyfill, and it won't be so sad looking. Got hot glue all over my fingies. And there we go. There's a hole right here. Hot, 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 hot. There we go. And then this didn't get glued down all the way on the edge. So we're just going to kind of roll the extra fur on top of it. Oh, come on. There we go. And then, let me grab a bazillion pounds of stuffing. And we'll see how this bad boy looks when he's properly stuffed. So these guys do have zippers in them. So normally I would, you know, come through the back of the ankle and stuff and unstuff them for cleaning. But since we haven't stitched the cuffs yet, I'm just going to shove my arm down the front because I don't care. It's not like it matters too much. I do like to heavily stuff the toes because that helps their shape kind of come out a bit better. Oh yeah, whatever I did to the toes the last time I modified their pattern, that turned out great. And they're so much more defined. That is awesome. That is amazing. Because normally my toes are pretty... I actually could grab some of Patch's feet paws and kind of show the difference. Because it's the exact same pattern that's just been slightly modified time and time again over the years. Because the original pattern, when I first started making feet paws, the original pattern was off of a foam base. So I just kept that duct tape pattern and tried using that. Well, the foam base makes a big difference into how the fabric looks when it's finished versus when it's stuffed. So we got our stuffed little toesies. And then we got our stuffings. So like having something to glue it onto versus just stuffing it out with foam makes a big difference in how the toes turn out. So if I actually go and grab, I'll be right back. This is one of Patch's feet, which don't mind that it's a bit dirty. It needs to be cleaned. We went suiting the other day and I just haven't had a chance to actually wash it. But like as you can see, the toes are not nearly as defined in the slightest. And really all I did was change how the darts are on the toes. And then also additionally, I found there was an issue with the ankle not being tall enough for overlap with the bodysuit, so that caused some gapping between the leg on the body and the ankles that I didn't like. So over the years, I have extended the height on that by quite a bit. And then of course they're both lined and stuffed, but yeah. And I think they're actually, like, it's the exact same length. I don't think I changed anything about that, but the defined toes, like, first off, they're taller, just because they're more defined, but it looks so much better nowadays compared to the pattern from, like, 4 years ago, you know? Like, but that's taken a lot of, like, just trial and error and tweaking over the years. So I'm like, that's a cute little guy. And granted, he'll be a little bit more stuffed still, just to get this, you know, standing a bit more like this. And then we'll come around with the bias tape and stitch his cuff up so he won't be quite so tall. Because a lot of times when you stuff it, it also brings the ankle down a little bit. So it'll end up being like this tall. But that creates a lot of room for overlap with the leg fabric when we're done. And then of course we'll stuff it some more to, like, not let it look so deflated and sad. But since we're doing a digi-suit on top of it, we don't need it to be stuffed a lot. We just need to be stuffed enough to kind of hold its shape. The biggest thing, though, is the toes do need to be stuffed a lot, just to keep that definition. Because I find that, like, right here, you can kind of see where the EVA ends if you don't stuff it enough. But it's not super significant. So that's 1 out of 4 feet down. And now we get to do all the gluing all over again. But, oh, another thing. White fur stains like crazy. It is very hard to keep white fur looking clean. So I specifically, when I was designing these suits and I realized that he was going to have white on his feet, I first off gave his toes darker fur. Because when you walk, a lot of times you might bump or drag your feet into something dirty and then it stains. The other thing is that I continued that dark color about an inch all the way around on the bottom. And that was just my design choice, but this way, this is usually where it gets really dirty on the bottoms of feet, which like I can show you on Patch's foot. Because like he's a bright yellow UV reactive fur, right? And he's not bad as far as staining goes. But you can see from our most recent trip, all of this is dirty, just around the edges, and especially on the backs of his heel. About an inch up, within that, there's just a lot of matting and dirt that happened there. So, it will get washed out, and it'll be okay. But, with white fur, it's really easy for it to stain, so I just find that it's worlds easier if I were to just do a darker color along the very bottoms of the feet. Which I then went and said, fuck that shit, for the other one. And gave him lighter toes and lighter bottoms for the RK800. Because that fit with his palette more and the patterning he had going on. And we also have that little stripe. But this fur isn't super, super light, so any staining that happens isn't going to be as noticeable as if it were like a white or a cream fur. Gray is pretty forgiving overall, no matter what the shade is, so he should be fine. It was the white fur that I was more worried about. Because, woo, that stuff gets dingy quick. And that's the last thing we want, is a dingy looking suit. We want them to look crispy clean. Like Cyberlife intended. And we'll say, I feel like they changed the nozzle a bit over the years on the hot glue guns. Like, they're a bit more narrower. Let me... no, maybe not. The thing is when I bought this hot glue gun, the nozzle was silver. It is no longer silver. It's all burnt hot glue on the end of that tip, and I'm honestly surprised it hasn't gone bad sooner. Jay, you're here. Hi, we're doing feetses. Jay, look at my feetses. Feetses. He needs a shave on his toesies, obviously, but yeah, they just get so gross after. This one finally kicked the bucket, so now I got the new boy out. But look at how defined his toesies are. I'm so excited. Like, compared to Patch's feet, it's so much better. And it's the exact same pattern, just with a slight difference in the darts. I do think, though, I need to change the darts between the middle toes for more, like... Because, like, between this toe and this toe, amazing definition, right? But between the second and the third toes, the definition is a little lacking. So I might just adjust. Specifically this dart right here. This one. This is the problem one. And that would give us more definition. But they're looking so good. I'm so excited. It's great. But we're doing things. Things are happening. We're running an ad soon. And we're hot gluing. A lot of hot gluing. There was something that I couldn't do for some reason. Oh, I couldn't shave. I can't shave the bottoms of the feet yet, like I want to, because I just like today had my clipper blades sent out to be sharpened. So we're gonna hope they get back in time for the con. No, not the ad. That's alright. You'll have to survive. I believe in you, but, well, you're an admin. You're a mod. It should skip it anyway, just because you're a mod. I don't know how the rules work for that, but I'm pretty sure mods don't watch ads. We'll find out. We'll find out when it actually starts playing. Tell me if it's a good ad. Maybe it's like a really sexy car commercial or something. Whoa, what? I got a notification for something and it's gone. It disappeared. It left. Something happened about fighting a dragon? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just here. I'm just hot gluing. I know nothing about the dragons. There we go. There we go. Well, we're doing it. We're doing it. Okay. There's the ads. I told you they were coming soon. Ow, my elbow. No! Not the light mode. Light mode is evil. Hello, baby mans. Goodbye, baby mans. He came and he left. An army ad. Yuck. I don't know why they advertise for... I don't know why they're advertising for the army right now. Like... They're always advertising, I guess. But also it's kind of dumb because, like, they send recruiters to the schools and stuff all the time to convince random teenage boys to join the army. And a college ad! That's a little bit better, I guess. They're like, you can either join the military or go to college. Pick one. That's kind of funny, actually. Oh, it's hilarious. But, like, I don't get it. Like, people are going to sign up for the army or they're not. It's not like they don't know it exists as a job. It's just a waste of money to advertise for the military. And an Audible ad. That one's mid-range. I don't care for Audible, but it's whatever. You know, that's an ad that makes sense. That's the thing I wonder. Does everybody get the same ads when it runs ads? Yay, you're back! I wonder if everybody gets the same ads or not when it runs ads. Because, like... Right, because you pay for the thing, so... And then I wonder, I doubt it, right? I doubt everybody gets the same ads, because it'd be kind of silly to advertise to someone in the US, a US company, but then also advertise that US company to somewhere that they don't sell to, like overseas, you know? Like, I don't think they should be running a US Army ad to someone who's from the UK. So I don't imagine they would get the ad. So I feel like the ad is different depending? Question mark? I don't know. I just find it funny that they're like, your options are either go in the army or go to college. Pick one. And also read a book while you're at it. Yep. I think advertising for the military is stupid in general. Not because I'm against the military per se, but like, first off, it's a waste of money, right? It's a waste of money that should be going towards other stuff rather than advertising for the government's military. Second, if someone's going to join the army, they're probably going to do it. And if they're not going to be convinced by an ad. You know? Like, I will never join the army. I'm good. My dad was military, and that was enough military life for me. Like... But I know a lot of people who have known since they were teenagers that they were going to join the army. It's not exactly a thing of like, oh, hey, this is a job you probably didn't know existed. Everybody knows you can join the army. Everybody knows. They had their recruiters in high school, which feels kind of predatory, but whatever. Like, it's what they do. I feel like running advertising to try and get people to join the army is stupid. Yeah, no, the army stuff's... it's difficult in a lot of ways. Part of it is that you don't get a fucking say in shit, right? It doesn't matter, right? From the get-go, you join the Army, you no longer get a say in what happens to you. If they want to send you somewhere, you go there. No questions asked. That's how that works. Doesn't matter if you have other obligations like school or a spouse or shit like that. You go where the Army tells you. So that's how we ended up in Germany and Alabama and all the other places that I lived. Because they don't care if you're uprooting 2 children and a wife. They're like, well, we need you here, so they're sending you there, and you can take your family with you. Unless, you know, it's like literally overseas to a war. Obviously, you're not taking your family to war, but you know what I mean. So, and that's the thing. If you're in the Army, you might get sent off to Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever things are happening right now and be in a literal war zone. Like, it's not great. It's a very difficult job. It's also a very physically demanding job, whether or not your actual job description is physically demanding. You know, like, you might just be a paper pusher of some sort. You might just be someone who goes and does whatever, like, people shit. You might be, like, Army HR. It doesn't fucking matter. They're gonna make you run, like, 10 miles every morning. And you also have to be within, like, a certain fitness requirement based on your height and gender type shit. So it's like, unless you're willing to run 10 miles at 5 a.m. within 20 minutes every day, it's probably not the job for you. Yeah, exactly. Like, I know for a fact I physically could not handle it. I can't run a mile, much less 5. Even with training, I feel like I'd still struggle. And also, I don't want to deal with all the bullshit anymore. Like, I had enough of having to deal with that in my childhood as a military brat. Like, I'm good. Like, shrimping is not good. I shrimp all the time. But I had a lot of friends in school who were also military brats, and they were very excited to turn 18 and join the military. Like, that was their thing. I've got a friend from Alabama. I haven't heard from him in years now, but last I heard he was stationed over in the UK, which was pretty cool. He was somewhere in the southwest of the UK. Somewhere along the coast, I feel like. I forget where exactly. I sent him a lobster. Not a real lobster, a crocheted lobster. Because when we were in middle school, I had made him one. So he asked if I could make him another and send it to him. Very good friend of mine. Haven't heard from him since. And then I had another friend whose parents were military, and he was actually born in South Korea because of it. Because his parents were stationed over there at the time. But he was actually of Hawaiian descent, if I remember right. Which was very interesting. Like, that's a very interesting combo. That's like reverse Markiplier. It's a little funny, actually. And I think he'd lived in Hawaii before moving to Alabama as well. He said they had school like 3 days a week, and that was it. And then, but it was year-round school. So, you know what? I don't know what happened to him. He might have. He might be an engineer. It's entirely likely. He was real smart, and engineering's a real common thing, so he might have become an engineer. That would be fucking hilarious if that's what happened. Kid born in South Korea lives in Hawaii, but is of Hawaiian descent and just exists as an engineer. He could have been a YouTuber, guys. Could have been a YouTuber. No, that's real funny. He said they did school, like, public school was 3 days a week, but it was year-round all year, so they didn't really get summer vacations. They just had 5-day weekends all the time, 4-day weekends. And then, of course, federal holidays, because duh. Oh, that's what the dragon thing was about. Someone streaming Minecraft. I kept hearing my phone go off. I also got a new phone case, finally. My other one was literally falling apart. But hey, we got Christmas money, so... bought me a nice new phone case. Downside, it's blue. Upside, it's blue. I miss the solid black, but also the bright frickin' blue should make it easier for me to find it when I lose it, which is nice. Downside, it's not solid black anymore. It doesn't match my everythings. That's okay, I'll live. My options were blue, hot pink, or green. And I was like, I'll take blue, I guess. They don't offer the solid black anymore. At least not in that phone case. There's other phone cases that are solid black, I'm sure. But I really like that particular phone case. Like I said, I don't like change. Whenever I have to get a new thing, I would like to replace it with exactly the same thing. Rather than getting a new thing. This hot glue gun smells awful. Must have burned all the chemicals off my old one years ago. So silly. Okay, we're most of the way around this foot now, which is nice. We just have to glue the back end. And then we can move on to the other feetsies with my shoes in them. My little teeny tiny shoes. I have ridiculously small feet. Like, even for me, they're small feet. People have described it as, you're basically walking on your toes. How do you walk like that? I legitimately have had multiple people tell me that. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm using my whole foot. But yes, my foot is small. You might as well be walking on toes. Now imagine me walking on my toes, and this is why I don't do ballet, because that shit would hurt. I'm like a horse. Just ow, all the time. I am a physical design mess. I'm a genetic mess overall. But we know that. We know exactly why. We shall blame the papa. Loose in a sometimes. Sometimes I am the horse loose in a hospital. I get people questioning how I walk in my hooves all the time. I walk on my toes all the time. Yeah. The practice definitely helps with that. I don't think I could for the life of me walk in those hooves. Despite the fact that as a kid I was very much a toe walker all the time. For fun. Like, just because, you know. I was also the kid that did a lot of quadrobics for fun all the time. Like, I don't consider myself a Therian, but I'm definitely Therian adjacent, you know? Like, I got no problem with skedaddling around on all fours like a weirdo. I haven't been in, like, actually in Frankenmuth just to be in Frankenmuth in so long. The last time I was there was literally for a vet appointment, and now the vet is closed. He doesn't do it anymore, so I have no other reason to go down there. Yes, exactly, like, I didn't know what quadrobics was. I was just a kid pretending to be a cat in my cat Halloween costume. Specifically, the Bratz cat Halloween costumes. It was hot pink with black stripes and a little tail on the onesie. And I would just walk around on all fours, meowing at my cat and chasing him through the house on all fours. He was a very tolerant cat. Oh god, not Snowfest. Good luck, Quinn. It's gonna be a nightmare. You guys want to go suiting for Snowfest? I do not want to go suiting for Snowfest. That sounds like a nightmare. That's too much. Like, I don't want to drive down there to go suiting during Snowfest. It's not even the suiting part itself. It's the traffic and the people. For those who don't know, Frankenmuth is a very touristy town. I don't know. I was always told that Frankenmuth was big around the world, but I didn't hear about it until I moved here, so... And that's saying something as someone who had been to Bronner's multiple times as a child. But it is a very, very popular tourist town in Michigan. And being a tourist town means it's busy and parking is shit. I do not miss Frankenmuth, I can tell you that. I am glad to not have to go to work there anymore. Because, like, it wasn't bad when I was there early enough in the mornings before stores opened to work. But, like, if you have a middle of the afternoon shift in Frankenmuth, you're just fucked. Like... It's awful. This is also why we should have more public transportation. Frankenmuth would not be nearly as bad if the US had public transportation that actually functioned well. I've gotten used to the people because I've been going almost every year with my family. See, that's the thing, like, the crowds aren't bad. The crowds aren't bad, it's really just the driving! Driving in Frankenmuth in the middle of the day is awful. Even on the off-seasons, it can be bad. But, like, during an event like that, especially in the winter events, when they're like, super, super busy, it's awful, awful. I'm already running around my kitchen on these normal days. I'm not ready to have to run around the kitchen though during Snowfest. Yeah. It'll be busy. Everybody's gonna come in, and then of course, because they're tourists, some of them will probably be the biggest fucking assholes on the planet, and others will be super polite. There's no in between. It's just how fast food goes. I always did the service side of fast food when I worked fast food. Like, I was a waitress for a while, I worked at McDonald's. Like, I always did the customer-facing parts. I never really did, like, grill and stuff for most of the places that I worked at. I did at Pompeii, the little pizza place I worked at. But that's because it was, like, 5 people running the entire store all week. I think our total staff count was like 11 people for the entire week for the entire store, and that includes waitresses, cooks, and delivery drivers. Like, just got my hair dyed, gotta wait for it to dry and double check. Woo! Heck yeah! We love when the hair dye turns out. Hopefully it turns out. I would assume that since you do this regularly, you would know. You'd be pretty confident in how it turns out. But some hair dyes just don't stick very well. Like, of course it depends on, like, your hair itself, too. I find that my hair will fucking absorb anything. But sometimes colors just don't work out because they're dumb for some reason. Yep. So... some people will hate me for this, and they'll be like, what is wrong with you? And I'll be like, what's wrong with me is I'm broke, okay? So, bear with it. I would buy, when I would dye my hair, I specifically bought Splat hair dye. Which I know is not good for your hair, but also look at how much hair I have. It takes me like 3 months to grow this back. I don't care. If I mess up the hair, guess what? I can just lop it all off. It'll be back. Not a concern to me. So I would just buy their semi-permanent dye that was supposed to be out within 30 washes, and it would last me a good 1.5 to 2 years every time I dyed it. Assuming I didn't cut my hair off before then, which was usually the case. It was all purple, but I got tired of maintaining the purple because it's so long. That's fair. Colored most of it back to brown and kept the bangs and a couple little bits purple. Ooh, that sounds cute. See, I like doing the bits. I don't like dyeing all of my hair bright color. I usually would do like the fringe, like just the ends of the fringe. whatever color I was dyeing it. Which then also worked out, because then if I decided to cut it off, I wasn't bald. I just had shorter hair. Yep. It's hair. It grows back. It takes a while, but it grows back. Like, I used to, whenever I would cut my hair, I was very lazy about it. When I first started doing my own hair. I did used to very frequently go on with a number 3 clipper guard. And I would just do my entire head down to a 3. It didn't look awful, but it's definitely not a look for me. So these days I would not do that. I was braver back then. Just running around freaking bald all the time. But like, if I really had to, like, I wouldn't care if I had to shave my head bald. It's whatever. But these days I actually, you know how to use a set of clippers on my own noggin. Because I've done it often enough. So now I go over it, I do usually like a 3 on the sides and a 5 on top, and then I taper it down a little bit further on the ends. So then I get like a short version of this hair, and this is probably a good 3 or 4 months grown out, so... And I usually just let it grow until it annoys me, and then I shave it down again. Woo! Hyperhidrosis, so I can't regulate my body. That is fair, yeah. I'm on a medication that makes me very easy to overheat. So I can totally... Especially if your body is not actually regulating your temperature, I completely understand that. If I ever go to salon, they're like, do you want to do that? Yep. Yeah, I say that was the thing, like, when I went in and I had my longer hair, and I was like, alright, lop it off, and they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, and I'm like, well, I just want to double check again, like, I want to quadruple check, because I get people all the time that ask me to shave their heads, and then they get really upset afterwards that it's shaved, and I'm like, yep, nope, just shave it. Cut it off, I don't care. And they were surprised that I wasn't upset when I went from almost shoulder-length hair to short hair, which the only reason my hair was shoulder-length is because my parents made me have it shoulder-length until I moved out, so I moved out and got it cut. But yeah, like, I know a lot of people that do the undercut just because they have a lot of hair. Like, I have very thick, wavy hair, so when I had long hair, I used to get it thinned every time, which... Honestly, I should have just done a fucking undercut, because thinning hurts. Like, it feels like they're just ripping every other hair out of your scalp. It's awful. I've never had a good experience with anyone's thinning shears. Granted, I don't go to, like, the high-end salons, but... Like I said, broke. And of course, these days, I keep my hair short enough that I don't have to worry about it being super thick, but... Which I totally get, because the last thing you want to do is do something to someone's body that they don't actually want, and that you can't fix. Like... I would also be worried if someone came in and was like, listen, I have the world's longest, luscious hair. Get rid of it. Like, I would also be very concerned. I don't like my hair. Exactly, like, I don't like my hair being super... I'd never have liked long hair. Ever. But it was always, well, you'll look like a boy. Look at me. Do I look like I care? No. But you know what I did care about? Not having to brush massive tangles out of my hair every day. And of course, you know... thick, wavy hair, whenever you brush that shit, it just goes, and then I would just have and I'd look homeless all the time. It was awful, and it's like, oh, guess what? If I just go over it with a comb instead of a brush, and I don't have 80,000 pounds of hair, I look voluminous. I look like I got thick, luscious hair, not a single hair missing off this head, but I don't look homeless. It's amazing. Like, it looks so much better than the long hair. Shay Griffin has seen a photo of me with long hair. Multiple people have, and they're like, do not ever have long hair again. So I'm good. I'll never have long hair again. That's fine by me. Like, yep, it's like Long hair is dumb. Yeah, is that a man over? Man over? Yep. I actually, when I was working at the pizza place, one of my coworkers was waiting on a table with a bunch of little old ladies, right? And they were arguing with her, my coworker, about my gender, and they're like all my coworkers were mad on my behalf. I thought it was the funniest shit ever, because they're like, who's that little boy up there? And they're like, no, that's Elizabeth. No, the little boy. Yeah, that's Elizabeth. Like, oh, it was so silly. What? Exactly. Buy your plants and leave. My gender does not affect your day-to-day life, ladies. It will be okay. Like, first off, it's none of your business. Second off, even if it was your business, like if you're trying to hit on me, I'm taken. I'm not going home with you. And I'm certainly not gonna have anyone's babies. So, either way, fuck off. You don't need to know what's in my pants unless you're gonna sleep with me, and I ain't sleeping with you. I ain't sleeping with nobody. Oh shoot, there was ads. It's like, what exactly? Some other dude was like, I've never married a woman with short. So that was my ex. Straight up. Got my hair cut, and suddenly, like, he was bawling his eyes out. He could not stand. He just didn't like me with short hair. It wasn't the same. So he kept pressuring me to grow my hair out, and I realized, I was like, nah, fuck you. And he ended up breaking with me after a while anyway, because he was cheating on me, and he ended up marrying her instead. So, it's a win for both sides, I guess. I don't have to deal with it, and he has a wife that has long hair. But I am happily engaged these days anyway. And my fiance also agrees that I look weird as shit with long hair. He thinks the short hair is sexy. Which is great, because I'm not getting long hair ever again. But yeah, I've never understood why the old ladies and shit have such a fucking twist in their panties about the fact that I look boyish. Like, it's not your business. Like, I understand, like, the little panic that some people get where they're, like, trying to debate if they should call you sir or ma'am to be polite. But also, aside from that, it shouldn't matter at all. And even then, I don't care. You don't have to sir or ma'am me at all to be polite. Just don't demand shit and you're fine. Like, say your pleases, say your thank yous, and we're good to go. Like, but, woo, Buddy Boy Doorman. That would be great. That would be amazing. I would also, I have ideas. Listen, there's a reason my fiance is in a fursuit. No, I'm getting my fiance in a fursuit just because I really want to turn him into a furry. That's pretty much it. Like, we're gonna make him a furry. We're gonna get him on the hype train. You can't live with a furry and not become a furry. That's not how this works. But also, like, usually when I go to cons, he doesn't come with. And it's like, I really want to get him to, like, come with to cons. Because cons are so much fun. And it's like, you need to come and you need to have the fun. You would like it. Especially since there's, like, so much nerdy shit, like the D&D panels and stuff, that I know for a fact he would like. A fur pile, it is happening. Exactly. Do it, be a furry. There's no shame in it. I proudly go out in public and people be like, oh, what do you do for work? I'm a furry. And I do it for multiple reasons. First off, because a lot of people have some very poor ideas of what furry is versus what it actually is. And I have no problem educating people and, you know, telling one more person that it really is just cosplay. Like, you know, like, there's very little difference between the cosplay community and the furry community. But also because it's really fucking funny to see their reactions because they don't know what to do with that. Especially if they, like, because either they don't know what furry is, they've never heard of it in the first place, or they think it's a litter box thing, or they think it's a kink thing. So when I sit here, I say, oh yeah, I'm a fursuit maker. I make fursuits. I'm a furry. And they're like, what? And I just really like, it's a little bit of a kick for me. Like, it's a little bit of joy in my day. Yeah, there really is very little. The only difference is that it's like our own animal characters instead of something copyrighted. Yes. So I was at the dentist, and I was getting a bunch of fillings done because I hadn't been able to go to the dentist for 5 years because, again, this is America. I didn't have insurance, so I couldn't go. And I finally got to go in, and I had 8 separate cavities they had to fill. It was awful. But that's what happens when you can't afford cleaning. And I told them, they're like, oh, you know, and I was chatting. I was like, oh, yeah, so I make fursuits for a living. Like, what? And the assistant was like, what's a fursuit? So I start showing her pictures. She's like, oh my god, that's so cool. It's like those mascots and stuff. And my actual dentist, my doctor, bless her heart, she's amazing. She comes in and she's like, oh, yeah. And she kind of like looks, and I see the look she does. She's like, that's cool. And I'm like, I don't, like, I know what you're thinking. Is it the litter boxes? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about, the litter boxes. I'm like, okay, good. Don't even think about the litter boxes. I didn't mention it. It's the kink thing, isn't it? She's like, yeah, it's, I thought it was a sex thing. And I'm like, no. It's literally just like cosplay, but it's animals. And she goes, oh, I know cosplay. And now the dentists love it. They always ask me to show them pictures of what I've been up to whenever I go in there. Like, the entire office. They're like, oh, you're the one that does the costumes, right? It's very, very silly. They also know me because Bingus, who's sitting here in her chair, is my retired service dog. So she did used to come with me to dental appointments, and they got very excited to see her in the office. Even though all she did was lay there while I got my teeth cleaned. But I usually let them pet her when we're done with the cleaning before we head out, because she likes pets, and if I'm doing good, we're all doing good, so she can get some pets. And everybody enjoys petting a pupper, so as long as I'm not having an episode, I'll let the staff who are super polite pet her. I don't mind. But she's too old for working now, so. Yeah. Dude, make a fursona. Make a fursona. It's so easy, make a fursona. You can do it. I believe in you. And, like, that's the thing. Like, over the years, it's alright if your sona changes from what you originally like. It's just supposed to be the vibe that you like. Her cap is thunder as in Thundercat. Oh, that's funny. I love that. I love that. That is amazing. I love when, like, people do nerdy shit with their pets and stuff. Like, Sarah, her name is Sarah. My mother named her. I wanted to name her Lily because I was, like, 12. That would have been an awful name. But when she was working, I just started calling her Bingus out of nowhere, and she liked it. So that was, like, her working name was Bingus. And if she was working and you called her by Sarah, she would completely ignore you. She only responded to Bingus, which was completely unintentional. But you would hear me walking around because I talk a lot, if you couldn't tell. Like, I'd be going through Walmart or something, you know, with her in a perfect heel. We're speed walking wherever we're going because we both walk really fast. And I'd be like, Bingo Bongo, Bingus Bongus, Bingo Bongo Bartholomew the Third, Bing Wings, Bingy Wingy. Like, just yammering at her. Not actually saying anything, just babbling for the sake of babbling. And she'd be like, I am the Bing Wings, I am the Bingo Bongo. Like, just for the sake of having someone to talk to while I'm out and about, you know? But now she's old, she got the arthritis, so she can't do all that walking. So she gets to stay at home, which she also dislikes because she misses working. But Forrest, the puppy, the poodle puppy, he is supposed to be my prospect for my next service dog. He's about a year and a half-ish. He's a little on the dull side as far as brain cells go, so he's a bit of a slow learner. Which is surprising for a poodle, but god damn it is he a pain in my ass. When he wants to be smart, it's usually for nefarious purposes. He's committing a crime. And that's it. He never does it for the good of the people. He only does it for the good of himself. That's when he uses his brain cells. But we're hoping that someday he will be good enough to actually go and do work in public and actually learn. I have very little hope for that, though. But also, we're doing better these days. I don't go out as much as I used to for multiple reasons, mostly because I'm broke and gas is expensive, but also I don't have any reasons to leave the house. So I don't have as many episodes as I used to. The more I do and the more exhausted I get, the more energy I expend, the whatever I do, the more likely I am to have an episode. So when I work an actual job that requires me to be on my feet all day doing stuff, I have multiple episodes a day. But yes, thank you. I appreciate it. But these days we're doing better. We're vibing for the most part. Oh, big stretch. Oh, big stretch from the noodle. Yes, hi Vengus. You're a good girl too. But throw over the drawing I was working on the Sona. A good reference for the update. So, yes, do it. Get that Sona going. So, I only really have the one persona, and that is Patch. And he is a bright yellow coyote, if you couldn't tell based off of his feet paws. But he was supposed to be a fall-themed pre-made, so he was originally like a more golden yellow with some oranges and reds, and he was supposed to be a husky. At the time, I was shit at making fursuits, so he turned out looking more like a coyote. I was like, fine, he'll be a fall-themed coyote. And then I liked him too much, so I kept him. And then his persona has evolved over the years, and now he's just a yellow coyote with some red and orange crochet detailings. And because he's mostly yellow, like his entire body is just solid yellow, for some reason people kept mistaking him as a chicken. Like, I don't, especially with his 2.0 head, I don't understand how people could mistake him for a chicken. But it happened often enough that I started wearing a ramen noodle jacket on top because that seemed to solve the problem. And now it's his thing. Now he's Patch the Coyote, the ramen noodle furry. So whenever I go somewhere, I hear quite a lot, oh, it's the ramen furry! Oh, that's Crochet! It's the noodle furry! Because he does have, on the bridge of his nose, a cable stitch that goes all the way up his nose, made out of a lighter yellow yarn. So people assume that it's supposed to be ramen noodles. Which it's not, but it's not ramen noodles, you know? Like, I'm not complaining. Let it be ramen on his face. That's dope. That's genius. I just didn't think of that. I just wanted to do a really cool texture on his face. So that is the boy. And whenever I suit in him, I wear the ramen noodle sweater. Because I don't want to be a chicken. And these days he doesn't have a full suit anyway, so I have to wear some sort of something on my torso. And the ramen noodle is just his vibe, you know? Like, he kind of gives a little bit more of an energetic version of Underswap Papyrus, I guess you would say. Like, he's fairly chill, but he's not quite so, like, laid-back chill. He's more of, like, an energetic, like, will vibe with you kind of chill. And he's just kind of stuck. Like, he just happened, and now he's my persona. Some people I know very much have multiple personas based on individual vibes. Like, maybe this one just really likes Monster because they really like Monster, and that's it. Like, that might be the whole thing. So then they have another Sona that really likes Chicken Nuggies. Or maybe the one that likes Monster also likes Chicken Nuggies, but this other persona is bright blue because that's their favorite color. Like, exactly. Like, you can have multiple different vibes that you just want to achieve at different times, you know? Like, I used to have a reindeer called Alfie, and he was kind of... He was very much like a child kind of character. Like, he was just very young and innocent, kind of energetic, like, full energy kind of vibes. Because, yeah, I was a silent suitor in him. I wouldn't speak in his suit, that sort of thing. So in order to, you know, perform in him, I was bouncing around being loud, and he was a very easy character to do that with. And I really enjoyed it. But over the years, Patch has also kind of gone from that laid back to that more energetic vibe. So I just kind of stopped vibing with Alfie overall. And I vibe more wholly with Patch now, so I don't have Alfie anymore. I also never really wore him after I got rid of his full suit, because it didn't fit me very well. which is ironic because I did get first place in a section of a competition. I didn't win like best in show or masters or anything like that, but for my group I did get first place with his suit, which was very interesting. In a cosplay contest, this was at a small mall con, so it's not like it was a big thing, but I was surprised, because I wouldn't say, like, these days I would not say that that was good craftsmanship at all. It was a lot of craftsmanship, but it was not good craftsmanship, you know? But it was fun, you know, like, I'm not complaining. It was dope. I got second place the year after with Patch, so... And I would argue that Patch 2.0 was definitely better craftsmanship, better quality. And the next year was a bit more difficult, too, because it was specifically, like, a fursuit section of the competition. Hello again! Have fun at your appointment! Don't die! I appreciate you stopping in. We always like when people stop and say hi. I know everybody's busy. Everybody's got stuff. But I had so many appointments this month. Everybody had appointments. It's been a busy month. It's January. Everything's happening because it's January. My phone's going off. Dun-dun! But yeah, it's a lot of fun, you know, like, we vibing. Oh, that was a lot of bit of hot glue, that's my bad. That might have been too much hot glue. It's okay, don't worry about it. Yeah, well, so, it's got a really bulky phone case, is what it is. I also have very small hands. I have the hands of, like, a 12-year-old. So, it's really not, it's an S22, the Samsung S22. It's not that big, it's just got a thick phone case. Because I am also the kind of person who will accidentally yeet my phone multiple times a day. So I want to keep that bitch safe. It looks brand new underneath, and it's been like 6 years. I keep my phones until, like, they stop working straight out, because I don't like getting new phones. I want my phone to stay. I don't want the new version. I don't want the different UIs. I want what I have. I had my, like, because before the S22 I had the S8. And the only reason I switched to the S22 is because the battery in the S8 went to shit. And by that point they'd stopped manufacturing that battery altogether. So there was no way to repair it. So I was like, well, I guess I'm getting a new phone. And now I have a newer phone, and it's fine, but I was still mad about it. I liked my old phone. If I had started... Well, I did start off with a flip phone, but, like, if I was this age in the early 2000s, I would not change from a flip phone to a smartphone, I can tell you that right now. I'd be like, I would just bring my laptop everywhere. You're fine, Jay. What show is your mom watching? What is the show? Should I watch the show? Is it a murder mystery? Is it a documentary? It's not Hallmark. Blue Bloods. I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it. But I know I've heard it, because that's a bit of an older show, isn't it? I feel like that's like the early 2000s or like the teens kind of show. I feel like I know what that is. I don't know. I'm blanking on it, but... maybe I'm not thinking of a show. Maybe I'm thinking of a different show. That makes sense, I guess. Interesting. My mom watches a lot of, like, the comedy shows. Like, what's Reno 911 or whatever it is? My mom watches a lot of that. She likes the comedies. I also like the comedies, so I'm very much a big fan of silly shows that are just stupid humor. Especially when it's just stupid humor and not, like, aggressive humor, you know? Like, there's a lot of shows that do humor that are like, haha, this person's drag queen. We should be mean to them and be, you know, like a lot of 90s comedy is. But I like when shows are just like, ha ha, he tripped and fell like an idiot, you know, like stuff like that. But very silly stuff. See, I don't care too much for dramas. Like, my mom really liked Grey's Anatomy back in the day when it was first starting out. I don't think she ever actually finished watching it. But, like, I don't like Grey's Anatomy. Like, a lot of dramas like that. Some mysteries aren't bad. I just don't get into them as easily. So I don't usually watch them. House is the exception, because House isn't really a comedy, isn't really a drama as much as it is a comedy, but it's also a drama, and also it's about a man who commits so much medical malpractice, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a very fun show, whereas all Grey's Anatomy is the drama, and I don't care for it. Like, House is more of a show of absurdity than it is of anything else. Which I like. That's my kind of humor. It's just, hee hee, this is stupid. But I'm realizing I'm very much a big fan of, like, just absurdist humor, you know? Like, it's funny because it's so unrealistic, and that's why The Onion was funny, but now The Onion is too realistic. Kind of a sad day. I feel bad for The Onion. How are they going to write their articles now? They're going to have to write stuff that's realistic to be absurd. I like irony. Irony's always fun. I'm also not big on, like, horror too much, ironically. For as much as I watch Mark's stuff, I am not a big fan of horror. Not so much because it's scary, but more because most horror is a lot of gore. Like, it doesn't have to be gory to be scary. You can do implied gore. Or you can just not have gore at all and still have it be really good suspense horror. Like, but a lot of scary, like, horror movies and stuff like that these days don't do that. It's just a lot of gore. And I don't like all the blood and guts. Like, I just don't. It's not me. Ugh. It irks me. But I do like suspense and jump scares. Like, that's more along my lines. Like, I finally went and watched the Final Destination movies, because everybody always talks about how they're so scary and horrifying. In fact, the roller coaster that was used in Final Destination is a real roller coaster, and they actually, because there was a near-miss accident this year, actually closed the coaster because of all of the, you know, drama from the fact that there was a small, completely harmless incident that happened, and that was perfectly fixable. And the fact that there was the scary movies, the horror movies, that have people too scared to ride the coaster. So despite it being almost 40 years old, they have replaced it. Which makes sense. Old coasters get replaced anyway. But it's kind of sad, you know? Like, I would ride that ride. Because that's an iconic ride, I feel like, if it's in a horror movie like that. But I didn't like the movies. Like, they were just really stupid. And also, gory. Like, half the movies, I'm just sitting here like, is the gore over yet? Can I look at the screen now? And it was a really dumb premise overall. So, I watched most of them. I don't know if I watched all of them. I don't know how many there are. But I did watch, like, the first few, at least. I don't know if I watched the rest. But I did not care for the Final Destination movies. They were whatever. And now there's ads again. But I'm going to keep blabbing about the Final Destination movies anyway, because I don't care if whoever's on stream actually listens to this part. It's fine. Like, the roller coaster scene was the only scene that I actually cared about. Oh, hot glue. All over my fingies. Burning me. So now we're back to looking for holes in the feetses. Holes in the feetses. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's a hole. There we go. 2-minute ad break. Sorry, Bingle. There we go. I'm trying to think, because I don't really do horror movies, mostly because of the gore. I do a lot of sci-fi. Sci-fi is pretty good. I do like the sci-fi adventure stuff. Like, huge fan. I am a huge fan of, like, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, stuff like that. But I would argue that those are adventure comedies. Like, if it's a comedy, I'm gonna like it. I do not care for Star Wars. I think it's a lot of runtime for a whole lot of not much to happen. Granted, the original movies, the original trilogy, is older, and that's just how movies were back then. But also, I don't care for any of the movies, really. Like, I don't find Star Wars to be an interesting universe overall. Like, it's got a lot of really good world building. Like, there's a lot to it. I just don't have an interest in it in particular. You know? That's just me, though. But, okay, so that's that one done. Oh, and I rolled onto his toe beans. There we go. Yeah. So, like, I like adventure movies. I like the family movies. You know, like the... like Over the Hedge or Open Season. Those are just the first ones that popped in my head. But, you know, like the family movies that are just like animals on screen doing stuff. Like the Pixar movies, the Disney movies, stuff like that. Those are usually pretty good. I have not liked a lot of the recent Disney movies. Mostly because they feel half-assed. But I tell you what, I am a sucker for Treasure Planet. Like that... that's just such a good... that is the kind of space stuff that's really just... Treasure Planet really is just space pirates, let's be honest. But it's amazing space pirates. Atlantis was golden. Pretty much anything featuring Michael J. Fox, I'm a fan of. His comedy movies, his not-so-comedy movies, like, whenever he's in something, it's almost pretty much guaranteed that it's going to be at least a really funny movie, if not a really good movie. Like, I like his stuff. I did like the new Sonic movies. I went and I did end up watching all 3 of them. Mostly I just like Jim Carrey. I feel like they are very much targeted at like a very younger audience, I guess, overall. With some of like the you know, the lore bits of Sonic in there, you know, the memes and stuff for the funny ha-has. But that's about it. Like, I feel like the movies are kind of cheesy overall, but I don't dislike them. I thought they were pretty good. They're just more of like a movie you watch for the sake of watching a movie than because you actually want to, like, get into a movie. It's more of just like a fun time movie, you know? Can I help you? Oh, big stretch. Oh, big stretch. Yeah. Okay, bye. You gonna get your ball? You gonna bring it here? Get it. Give me your ball. Oh, no. Try again. I missed. Come here. You gotta come here with the ball. Yeah, get it. Can I have it, please? Use your whole brain cell. Thank you. There we go. And off he goes. Doing a lot of skedaddling. Good lord. He was just sliding for years. I'm going to trim a little bit of this the seam here. Just because there's a lot of fabric there, and this really thick extra seam allowance will cause bigger holes when we go to glue it on. The other one wasn't as bad, but this one's got quite a bit. Yeah, give me your ball. Get it. Good boy, bring it here. It doesn't squeak. It never did. I don't know why you're trying to squeak it. This ball that he has... Here, can I have it, please? We got this ball in 2004, 2005. Can I have it, please? Good lord. So this ball is a good 10 years older than Bingus is. It's older than my sister. We got it sent to us because the dog we had at the time, Odie, she was a Westie Lab mix, like 35 pounds, had torn through a Kong toy. It was supposed to be the heavy chewer stuff, right? And within 15 minutes, she had already chewed through the entire toy. Like, ripped it up into little shreds. So my mom wrote and complained that, hey, your heavy chewer toy that I spent $30 on is shit. And they said, oh, we're sorry about that, and sent us an entire box of toys. She played with most of those toys and went through most of those toys fairly quickly, but, you know, at least they sent us something. So it was worth our 30 bucks that we initially spent. But she did not touch that pink ball because she was little and it was too big for her mouth. Which, you know, that's fair, obviously. But, so we had that ball in the little toy bin for years. And she never touched it. We got a black lab. The black lab never played with it. We got a boxer. The boxer never played with it. And finally, we got Bingus. And Bingus realized when she was about 6 months old that her mouth was big enough to actually fit around the big-ass ball. So she played with the ball, and we've kept it since. And now Forrest plays with the ball like it's one of their favorite toys, even though it's old as shit and a little gross. Yeah. It's okay. Bingus is also old as shit and a little gross, so... Hello, baby. Oh, big yawn. Yeah, do you just need a cuddle? Is that it? You just need a cuddle? Do you want uppies? You want up-ups to cuddle? Yeah, come here. Come here. You rotate. You want cuddle? You want some cuddle? Up-ups? You want up-ups? Yeah? You got it. Yeah, come here. Hold on, come here. Oh, here you go. That was awkward. Yeah, I know it. Hold on. There you go. This is the baby man's. We're doing a cuddle break with the baby man's. Very nosy. I know, it's all the stuff you can't normally reach, and now you get to smell it. As long as you don't eat anything, we're good. Yeah? You being nosy, smelling my desk? There you go. He's very needy and wants attention all the time. Sometimes we just need a good cuddle, huh? You stinky. Stinky baby. He's due for another bath, I think. But we're doing a treatment on his ears right now because he's got ear infections. And the last thing I want is to get his ears wet and make it worse. So we're going to wait until we get your ear infection all figured out. And then we'll get you another bath. Yeah. So you'll just have to be a little bit stinky. Just a little bit. You also need a brushing. You're kind of scrunkly again. Yeah, you're kind of scrunkly again. Yeah. No big old baby. No big old baby. Yes, Bingus, you're a big old baby too, but you don't let me put you in my lap. You just wiggle a lot. She doesn't like being picked up. This guy is perfectly fine being picked up and thrown around, so long as he lands on his feet when you're done. He likes being in your personal space. It's kind of his thing, is he's a big old... You're a big old personal space hog. Yes, you are. Gross. Are you done? Do you want down? You want off? He's like, no, I'm good. He's gonna hang out right here. I guess I'm just gonna hold the dog now. Can I get back to work, please? Yeah, can I go to work? Alright, come on. Oh, don't wiggle, I got you. Good lord. You're 50 pounds of wiggly. Oh, is Bingus coming over here too for some attention? Hi. Oh, you stink, Bingle. Stinky breath. Stinky breath, Bingus. Hello. Ah! Ugh, gross. Sneezing all over me. That's rude. Good lord. Alright, get back in your chair, I guess. Why'd you get out of your chair? Just to get back in it. Goofballs. Oh, I got snoot all over my chin. Dogs. Spoiled little children, I tell you what. There we go. Yeah. Oop, oop. There we go. I gotta make sure I have the right toe when I start gluing it. Because otherwise we glue our middle toe into our side toe spot, and then it will be like a problem. Ooh, big stretch. Do not touch the hot glue gun. That is not safe. No. No. It's not safe. It'll burn you. It's okay if you smell from a distance, but you can't get all up close on it. This is the same idiot who tried sniffing the oven, like, the oven. The one, like, almost touched his nose to the door, and I was like, sir, we are cooking right now. Do not touch the oven. Sometimes I think I should let him do it, just that way he learns that, hey, that shit's hot. But also, I don't want my dog to burn himself on the oven. Because, especially on his nose, I'm sure that would blister like crazy, and it'd be bad. He'd get an infection, and we don't want that. There's a difference between, like, letting your dogs experience safe pain and letting your dogs experience bad things. Because, like, yeah, sometimes they need to go fuck with the porcupine and get poked a little bit. As long as they're not chasing it around to the point where they get, you know, shot with quills, you know. If they fuck with the cat's gonna smack them and scratch them a bit, but it's not gonna be the end of the world. They'll learn not to fuck with the cat. You fuck with the oven, you're gonna get cooked, and then that might be the end of the world. Or at least a very expensive vet visit. So it's like, he needs to learn, but also he's kind of stupid. Hi. I also love that sometimes, and it's really just like an optical illusion because he's a black poodle with really dark eyes, and you can see the whites of his eyes pretty well. And since he's a black poodle, the inner part of his eye stands out a bit more than it normally would on a dog. So it makes his eyes look like they're doing this. They aren't, he's looking straight forward, but your dad looks like that too. Yes, he does. Your dad also has silly eyeballs. And he's also got those big round baby eyes. Like, look, he's just got big round eyeballs. Big round little eyeballs. He's just always so innocent with his giant eyeballs all the time. But, oh, there we go. Okay. I gotta glue the other toe. I'm getting distracted. You're distracting me, you little shit. You're lucky you're cute. Yeah, you're lucky you're cute. You're lucky. I'm not cute. I have to pay taxes. Oh, that's another thing. If you haven't been here before, you will learn that Bingus's favorite thing is felonies. She loves felonies. I don't know why. We learned this one day when we were talking about taxes. and I offhandedly mentioned tax evasion, right? Just like this. Like, I just was like, oh, well, you know what, it's tax evasion, right? You're making jokes about it. And Bingus, out of nowhere, is like, what did you say? What was that? And I was like, tax evasion? And she was like, yes! Like, she gets so fucking hyped for felonies. And it's not just tax evasion. Sometimes it's money laundering. Or, don't look at me like that. She's over here, she's like, money laundering? Is that the one today? Is it money laundering today? That's the one you want? Yeah? Or is it GTA? The other day, we finally got her, like, she really got excited for Grand Theft Auto. Usually, she doesn't care for that one. Her big ones are, like, financials. She really likes the financial ones. Quite literally. We're convinced that in a past life, she was part of a money laundering scheme as a stripper who got killed in a brawl. And I'm like, oh. I'm not sure. I don't remember how we came to that conclusion, but she just got, like, really excited when I asked her. And I was like, okay, so you were a stripper. Okay, did you get murdered? You were murdered? No! It was very silly. But apparently, she's had a wild past life. But she really likes money laundering. Yeah, you like money laundering. And tax evasion. And murder. And Grand Theft Auto. And what about battery? Is that a felony? Is battery a felony? It must not be, because she does not care about battery. What other felonies are there? She's really excited about money laundering today, though. And tax evasion. But money laundering is usually her big one. She also likes drugs. Specifically the word drugs, but that's for a whole different reason. That one we actually taught her. Unintentionally. She thinks the word drugs means squeeze cheese, like the can of cheese. Because when she was sick, she had an infection and, you know, she was on a bunch of medications and she had a gel and stuff. I got sick and tired of doing that thing where you shove the pill down the back of their throat and then so they swallow. And she was getting sick and tired of it. We were having to do this shit like 3 times a day. She was on so many meds. It was a very persistent infection. So I was like, fuck it. I'll put the teeniest, tiniest squeeze of cheese on top of her pill and see if she just eats it. Because she's very much a foodie. She's a lab mix. Of course she loves food. Immediately inhaled it. So I'd be like, you want to do your drugs? And I put a little bit of squeeze. Yeah, you want some drugs? Yes, you do. I know you do. And can of squeeze cheese. She thinks squeeze cheese is drugs. So, there you go. That's why she likes the word drugs. But the felony stuff we did not teach her. She just really likes money laundering and tax evasion and Grand Theft Auto sometimes. But mostly money laundering and tax evasion. I don't know why those are her things. But that's what she... It's like that one dog that really likes the word murder. Like, I don't know what it is. Yeah? Yeah? What you got going on there, Bingus? Yeah? Are you comfy? Okay. Are you upset because we don't have any drugs? And we can't do any money laundering or tax evasion? It's okay. You'll be okay if we don't commit any felonies. Oh, you got a skin tag there. It's a pretty big one, too. A hydrate! Not a hydrate. I have Coke today. It's the closest we're getting to hydrated. But thankies. Are you comfy? Bingus has now gotten comfy in her chair again. Oh, I didn't realize you guys could see her tail wagging. That's funny. That's so silly. But, yeah, no, the dogs are both weirdos. Forrest also really loves snow. Specifically, like, snow. It's his favorite thing in the world. Which is apparently very much a poodle thing. Like, a lot of poodles just want to be outside in the snow 24/7. Which makes sense, because he's such a warm dog. Like, he just puts off steam when we let him outside. It's horrendous. But he also likes when you throw snow. Like, he just likes jumping for it and stuff. Like, he's like a little kid on a snow day. So whenever it snows, he gets really excited and just wants to run around outside in it, in the fresh snow. He loves it. There's not snow right now. There kind of is, but it's not new snow. It's the same snow. He's over here, he's like, snow? 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 I've never had a dog tilt their head as much as he does. He tilts it all the time, and it's so funny. No, we're not. There's nothing out there. There's barely anything out there, and it's melting as we speak. It's been a very warm winter. Like, very warm. Although I do hear that it's supposed to snow again this weekend. I don't know how true that is, but supposedly it's supposed to snow again. I'm hoping we at least get a decent amount of snow by the end of the month, because I would like to take some nice snow pictures when these suits are done. I'm also hoping I can get these suits done by the end of the month. Luna, boo! No, we want snow. It's winter, Luna. There's supposed to be snow. Let there be snow! I don't know, did anybody do any, like, weird stuff as a kid? Where, like, weird rituals that you learned as a kid. Because, like, when I was a kid, everybody was always like, oh, yeah. Mind you, I lived in upstate New York in the mountains, so a little bit of a weird end of town, I guess you could say. But we were always told, you gotta go put your underwear on outside of your pants and run in laps around your house counterclockwise to get it to snow. But you couldn't do just that if you really wanted it to, because that was for rain. If you wanted it to snow afterwards, you had to go drop an ice cube in the toilet and flush it. And that's how you got snow. I don't know that it actually works. It probably doesn't, I'm going to assume. You can be cute in the winter. That's what warm shawls are for, Luna. That's when you put on a really nice shawl that's thick and toasty and lacy. You put on one of those fur hoods. That kind of stuff. You can be cute in the winter. But, like, that's what I grew up hearing, was the clockwise, the counterclockwise. And then if you didn't want it to happen, you were supposed to do the same thing, but running clockwise around the house. And not the ice cube down the toilet. I think you were supposed to actually, like, flush a cup of water or some shit, but... because then it was, like, melting snow. I don't know. Lots of weird little rituals like that as a kid. I will say I never ran around with my underwear outside. But I did flush a few ice cubes in my day. I think that's the closest I've ever gotten to truly being religious, was flushing those ice cubes. It's like, I consider myself atheist. I don't really believe in anything. I just kind of exist, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But, like, I've never, like, with, like, my entire, like, self legitimately believed in something. Like, I understand, like, well, maybe this is the idea, but I don't necessarily believe in any god of any sort from any of the religions that I at least know of. It's not something that my brain, like, sure, I can listen to the stories all day and say I believe, but I don't genuinely believe any of it, you know? It's not like science where I'm like, yeah, you know, like, you know, we get seasons because the earth tilts. That I believe, you know? Like, we have science. But as far as, like, a religion goes, I've never really clicked with any of them, so I'm just over here vibing, you know? Like, well, if it's true, it's true. I guess we'll find out when I die. Like, that's gonna be it then, I guess. I've always been a big fan of Greek mythology, though, not because I believe it, but just because of the drama that Greek mythology is. Greek mythology is so frickin' silly on the whole. Like, it really is just someone's OCs that got blown up to be gods. Like, so silly. They're like, what if all of our gods are actually stupid, greedy, horny people up in Olympus? And they just did stupid shit all the time. Which isn't to say that the Greek gods are bad, but like a lot of the stories and legends you hear really are usually like the gods doing something out of anger or spite because they're jealous or something, like, or you know, it's because one of the other gods cheated on their wife. Like, there's always some random bullshit with the Greek gods. It's very interesting to me. Like, it's just fun to listen to like the stories and, you know, the fables and stuff. Greek mythology overall is just a very interesting topic. But, and then of course, you know, there's other religions that are also, I find, like, topically interesting, but nothing that I actually believe in. So I'm just vibing over here. I'm like, that sounds cool. I don't know that it's real, but that sounds cool. It'd be dope if it was. If it is, waha. Like, I hope so. But I can't get myself to genuinely believe. I can't wrap my mind around genuinely believing in a religion, you know? That's just me. I'm a weirdo. We all know this. But flushing that ice cube down the toilet, though, might be the closest I got to actually believing in something like that. Although, of course, I don't think I ever really believed that flushing an ice cube was actually going to change the weather. It'd be interesting if it did, though. Like, what if that's the real one? What if that's one of the real, like, parts of life, is that if some child somewhere flushes a ice cube down the toilet, there will be snow. Like, maybe it's just a single snowflake for every child that flushes an ice cube. And the more children flush ice cubes, the more snow there will be. That would be so stupid. But it would also be amazing. Like, you know damn well, none of you are flushing ice cubes. That's why we don't have snow. Oh, that'd be so silly. But I've always had, like, a fun interest in, like, I guess, mythical type stories that are along the lines of that, where it's like, oh, well, there's this sort of ritualistic thing that they do in the hopes that it works, you know? And, like, I like that kind of, the idea that you could believe in something like that, I guess, seeing as, like I said, I don't really believe in things like that in general. It's just not something my brain wraps around. My noggin don't think like that. The gears ain't turning. Cause like for example, like Warrior Cats, right? Like, I love the Warrior Cats books, just overall. There's so much murder. Like, I went back to reread them and I was like, oh my god. 8-year-old me was reading about so much murder and like espionage and shit. I was like, this is in no way appropriate for an 8-year-old, except for the fact that it's cats and not people. But like, their whole belief system with StarClan and the things, the rituals and the stuff they do with that is very interesting. Like, I feel like that adds a lot of really good character and world building to the series. And I find it really interesting, just in general, you know? But I love me some frickin' Warrior Cats. I tried getting into the, oh, what was the other series they did? Not the Seekers, because that was the polar bears. The ones with the dogs. I was very excited when they first started making those books, and then I just couldn't. I didn't like them. They just weren't written the same. Which is unfortunate, but I really loved the, like, I need to go back. There's probably been several books that have been published since I stopped reading Warrior Cats years ago. If not an entire new series, who knows? So I really need to get back into it and reread it, because I know damn well I don't remember half the series these days. Like, I remember the basic stuff with, like, Firestar and, like, the whole thing with Tiger Claw. And then I remember later on in one of the other series with the triplets, the Prophecy of Three. I remember that stuff vaguely. I remember something about the waterfalls in the mountains. I think that's about where I left off, is when they got to the clan that lives in the mountains. And that's around when I stopped reading. And I remember nothing else aside from that. Like, I did read some of the bigger books, like the individual offshoot books, like Blue Star's Prophecy and stuff like that. I was particularly a big fan of Blue Star's Prophecy. That was one of my favorite of the offshoot books. But I really need to get back into reading Warrior Cats. It's been so long. It's been so long. But we're almost done hot gluing this foot paw. I'm almost out of hot glue in this. I'm almost done with the stick. I need to grab another hot glue stick. I hate to put a brand new hot glue stick in there just to use like 2 drops of hot glue. Because this really is like the very end of gluing this paw. There we go. Oh. There we go. It was stuck to my finger. Almost done. And this one is one of my feet paws, so the shoes fit me. Downside, I don't want to show my feet on camera, because that's how we get weird. I also have tiny feet, just like I have tiny hands. So my shoe is literally this much of the foot paw, which is not great, but, you know, we'll live with what we got. I did try to sit it a little further forward than I normally do on my feet paws, just so that way I'm not... Just so that way my heel's not back here and it's not like a clown shoe. But if I sit it too far forward, then it forces this to lean forward, which we don't want. We want it to stay vertical as much as possible. And of course the lining is all cattywampus and shit. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Oh well. So, oh, that's not a gap, that's just excess fabric, which I'll have to trim off later. Oh, that is a big ol' hole. Good lord. I don't know how I managed to miss that. Ow. But this is why, like with the feet paws, we go back around twice with the hot glue and we check all of our gluing. Just to make sure it's a nice clean thing. But we won't actually be able to trim these nicely until like weeks from now when I get my my clippers back. So it'll be a lot of bodysuit work until then. I'm trying to get both the bodysuits and all the feet paws and everything else done in time for MCFC. So we will see. Hot, 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 hot. I've been booped! No, don't boop me! 'Tis a federal crime, 'tis a felony. Isn't that right, Bingus? It's a felony. Oh, there we go, okay. And this didn't go all the way to the bottom edge, so we're just gonna do that. Because I like to give the fur as much area to adhere to as possible. especially since these are only the 1/4 EVA sheets and not the 3/4 that I've switched over to. No! No! Bingus got her foot stuck on the hot glue gun. Not the head paths! No! Bingus, they're committing felonies. They're committing crimes. She's like, I don't care, I'm taking a nap. It is herd nap time. Ba-da-da-bum. Bam, bam, ba-da-da-dum, bum. Bum, ba-da-da-dum. Alright. Oh, oh. I know, I just keep getting stuck on your toe. You need your nails cut, babe. I think that should be everything that needs to be hot glued. So. I'm gonna unplug that. This should be cold now. Yeah. So we can throw this one away now that it's dead. Everybody say rip hot glue gun. F in chat for the hot glue gun. There we go. Now... Heck yeah. I had my bias tape and I don't know where I put it. Oh. There it is. I got my own bias tape. I would like to use white bias tape on this realistically, but I don't think I have any. Let's see. Oh wait. I might be a liar. I have white bias tape. In fact, I got like a little extra splooge of bias tape. And then an entire pack. Let's see. I've got some of this custom bias tape that I made. I really want to keep things consistent, because like on his hand paws, I did my gray bias tape, because I specifically made gray bias tape. So I might actually save the white. And I think it'd be silly to do... Where are his hand paws? Because I've got the 800's hand paws. I think, oh, there they are. I see them. Yeah, like, his hand paws are also almost entirely white. But they have the dark gray cuff, so I feel like it'd be really silly to do that on the hand paws, but not do it on the feet paws. If I had known I had white bias tape, I would have done white bias tape. That's alright. We'll do the dark gray. I've switched to making my own bias tape because a lot of places are no longer selling bias tape. And honestly, it's so much cheaper to just buy the color you need. Like, I spent $5 on 2 yards of cotton fabric. And then I cut it up into strips and folded it with the bias tape maker. Granted, I will say the bias tape maker I did spend $180 on. But I made 30 yards of bias tape off of a 1/4 yard of that fabric. So, I might never need to buy gray bias tape ever again. It's very silly. Yeah, this stuff comes up way higher. I need my thread, and I need a needle, because the first thing I need to do is tack it down. I don't think I have a needle over here, though, do I? I think for some reason all of my sewing needles are out in the living room again. Gosh darn it. Alright. Forrest is doing things. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say 3D printing for fursuits is fairly easy. Sorry, I got dry skin on my lip. That was bugging me. Depending on the file, it might have to be modified a little bit, just specifically at the base, in order for me to properly, like, put it onto a fursuit. But other than that, like, yeah, I can print pretty much... I have you could kind of see behind me, I have a big-ass Solval printer. It's got like a 14-inch by 14-inch by 14-inch build area. So I can go pretty big with what I can 3D print. You good, bud? Yeah? Yeah. For tape, pink ones. I think I do actually have pink. Oh, good. Big yawn. Beep, beep. I think I do actually have... Yeah, I have baby pink, I have babyer pink, and I have hot pink for bias tapes. I have a lot of bias tape. I also have a lot of blues and a little bit of greens. And I have exactly one purple and one yellow. I don't know why. But I am going to go grab my sewing needle from the living room. Scoot, scoot, baby mans. Beep, beep. I have returned. Oy. I'm bleeding a little bit. Whoopsies. Tore that skin a little too close. Oh no. I'll live. It's okay. Oh, it's a chunk of hot glue. That's what that is. Okay. So, I gotta move stuff. What? What do you want? That tells me nothing. Where's your toy? Go get your ball. Go get your ball. Go get it. He just wants to play. I got hot glue on my fingies. Good boy. Can I have it? Can I have it, please? He's gonna bounce it a few times first to try squeaking it. Can I have the ball? I don't know why I bother. You didn't want to give it to me. Oh, sure. Now, come here. Don't. Oh, shit. Brings his ball over. Psych. He's such a smart ass. There we go. That's probably too much thread, but that's okay. I don't like going super long with the thread on my needles, because usually if you go longer than arm length, it really, really likes to tangle. So this is a little bit longer than I usually do it, but that'll be okay. Because right now I just need to pull this taut, and then we're going to stitch this to the back. Because now we're stitching the lining to the actual fur of the feet paw. Which I'm just kind of tacking down the middle parts, so that as I go around, it's not causing issues. There we go. I will say this is my least favorite part of any suit, is specifically doing the cuffs. Whether it be the necklines, or the hand paws, or the feet paws, it doesn't matter. I just really don't like sewing cuffs. I know a lot of people will use like Minky and they'll sew on the sewing machine, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same. I really like using bias tape. I'm just really bad at sewing it on the sewing machine. So, you know, I get what I get. It is how it is. This is the correct direction, right? Cool. And I guess I also put his shoe a little bit far forward. Oopsie doodles. That's alright. Again, that'll just make it easier for him to walk. So. Oh, there goes the thread. There we go. Now, if I was smart, I would have done this side first and then done the back first, because this is where I actually want my bias tape seam to be, and I wouldn't have to tie off a whole other knot for it, but oh well. We're working with it, we're vibing. Oop. There we go. There we go. Alright. Sibsers. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. Sorry, I gotta send a text real quick. There we go. And of course now there's an ad. Now we're gonna use our bias tape, and we're gonna actually go all the way around. Which I'm realizing I didn't really trim this fur. Oh well. Doesn't matter too much. It's not going to affect how the cuff looks. I personally like to trim the fur so that way the seams are like perfectly even with each other. But it doesn't actually matter at the end of the day. It's not going to affect how anything looks. What does matter is that I get this bias tape on all nice and goodly like. A hydrate! Thank you for the hydrate. Let me just stick this needle back through real quick so that way our bias tape actually stays on the foot, and then I'll do that. Eek. I might actually make today a longer stream, depending on the vibes. Because honestly, I'm vibing today, not gonna lie. There we go, now that's gonna stay. So I might do like a mini 10-minute break at around like 5 o'clock for everybody to get dinner and snacks and stuff like that. Probably more drinks because I am almost out of Coke. Thank you for the hydrate. I realized I was blabbing during the ad, so happy you didn't hear me. I am trying to make I think I'm going to do a longer stream today, if I can. I think that's going to be the plan. So I think around 5, what I'll do is I will do like a little 10-20 minute break. Because then everybody can get their dinner and all that good stuff. And then when our break's over, we'll come back and we'll go back to sewing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens around 5. If I'm still feeling the vibes around 5, then we'll keep streaming. We might not. It depends, because most of today is really just, like, whether or not I keep streaming, I really am just going to be sewing these feet. So that's going to be today's whole thing, is getting these feet done. And that's usually a long and tedious process. Because I like to hand sew my bias tapes so they look nicer. I did buy a bias tape foot at one point, but it's not. It's a plastic one, and it's not thick enough to accommodate the fur and the lining and the bias tape. So it doesn't work with this sort of project. It would work very well for a smaller project, but not something as thick as this. Oh, a big sigh, Bingle. So unfortunately, I do hand sew all of this. But it helps, because that means I also don't have to worry about whether or not I'm catching the fur in the stitches. I just don't, you know? That makes things a lot easier. There we go. See, the thing is that this does really take, like, a lot of concentration for me to do. Because I'm trying to stitch, like, as low as possible, so that way the stitching isn't super noticeable on the bias tape. I used to stitch through the fold specifically, but that took so much longer, and it looked nice, but it wasn't amazing. So it was like, it's not really worth it, is it? There we go. Don't worry, guys, we got this. Yeah, again, I'm just trying to focus really hard on stitching, so now I'm kind of like running out of words because my brain can't do both at once very well. But I'm having to, like, so what I usually do is I kind of roll down the cuff. All the cuffs are not the cuff, the lining. All of the lining is pinked, which is where you take the pinking shears, these big old boys with the ziggy-zaggy teeth. And what that does is it keeps it from fraying since it is a cotton fabric. I prefer cotton lining because A, it's cheaper, B, it's breathable, and C, I don't like the texture of most lycras. I just don't. So all my stuff is lined with cotton, although I am looking to make an option for sports mesh as a lining. Because I know some people would prefer sports mesh over cotton. I just really don't like lycra. But sports mesh is also breathable and a stretchy fabric like lycra is, so... It's just, it's available in very limited colors, whereas the cotton I can currently get in my little custom pattern with my little logo and my paw prints, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it exists and it's cute. I have like a light version and a dark version of it. And I really like doing that rather than having to stitch my logo into a fabric and then stitch it in. Which, that was another thing with these feet paws. I accidentally forgot Normally with feet paws, I stitch in a little label that says L or R for the left and right feet whenever there's shoes in them. And I completely forgot to do that, so I think this is a right foot. Yeah, this feels like a right foot. So I'll have to, like, in post, I'll have to embroider little tags that I then sew in. Normally I embroider directly onto the lining fabric, so that way there isn't a tag. I also don't feel like doing it for both feet, so we're just going to label one the left foot. Or, oh no, I lied, we're going to label the one the right foot, because it's the RK100 series. And we're going to put all the R's on for the RKs. Haha! And also for the right foot. Haha! We're doing good. How'd your appointment go? We got all our feetsies glued. This is the first one that we stuffed, so we could see what all the toesies like when they're stuffed. He's not fully stuffed, but he's there. Probably needs a bit of a shave redo on his feet because he's a lot of bit choppy. The clippers trimmed like shit. But we're now working on the cuff, and we're sewing on the cuffs for our lining and all that around the ankle. But yeah, definitely, my clipper blades were really, really dull and not properly aligned, so I sent them to get re-sharpened and realigned. So hopefully when they get back, they'll hopefully be back in time for the con. And I can clear up all these bad shave lines on the toes, because, yuck, that looks awful. So many, like, you can, I don't know, you can't really see them from here, but the closer I hold them, the more you can see the lines, and I hate it. Like, they're not great. So we'll back brush them and we'll reshave them, and that will hopefully make them look a lot nicer. Plus, it'll take it a bit shorter. Since I did go shorter on the faces and stuff, it'll be nice to go shorter on the feet, too. I already trimmed the fingers a little bit. It's kind of hard to trim the fingers in post. Yeah. It's also especially easier to see in person than it is on this camera, because this camera absolutely sucks. But this camera is also like 5 years old. This is the same camera I used when I very first started streaming back in 2020. So someday we'll get upgrades. I have a lot of plans. So I think it would be really cool, right? First off, to get a better camera. I miss using my phone camera, but, you know, only so much I can do. But someday we'll get a better camera. But also, I think it'd be way cooler to get a GoPro and a harness and put that shit on the dogs, and then we go do an outside stream where we just, like, run around in the backyard, and you guys get to see, like, Forrest's point of view while he goes and chases a ball or something, or Bingus's point of view. Probably Bingus's, because Forrest backflips a lot and lands on his back, and that would probably just absolutely destroy the GoPro. Like, I know they're meant for, like, hard outdoor activities, but he does it a lot. He does a lot of crazy stuff. Bingus, meanwhile, just kind of walks around and sniffs, occasionally runs. Someday, I would like to get 2 of them, so that way each of the dogs can have a harness, and we can have both cameras streaming on the same stream, like side by side, like playing multiplayer on a local game. Split screen. I think that would be really fun to do, just to have them both running around with GoPros for a stream. I think it'd be very silly. And they're both used to wearing harnesses, so they wouldn't mind it at all. They'd still run around like idiots. We just might have to put Forrest's GoPro, like, on his chest or something where he doesn't land as often. Bangus's could go on her back. We'll find out. We'll figure it out. Problem is GoPros are expensive, so, like I said, future us idea. But I still think it'd be a really fun idea to do. And I know the dogs would get a kick out of running around for hours outside. They like being outside. it's too cold right now, so they're very upset with me, because right now we only go outside for like 10-20 minutes at a time. Before I get too cold, I'm like, alright, I gotta go inside. And nothing's the same if I'm not outside with them. They won't play outside by themselves. But also, we don't have a fenced-in yard, so I have to keep an eye on them whether or not I'm inside or outside with them. I have to at least be watching them. Especially since somebody likes to scream at the neighbors for existing. Yeah, you. Forrest is a butthole. He likes to yell at the neighbors just for being in their driveways. Usually I have to, like, yell at him to get inside and stop barking at him, but... he has at least stopped trying to run to the neighbors to go yell at them. Because he's an idiot. He decides he needs to yell at them for existing, right? And then he takes off. And he will go up to the neighbors barking at them. Like, go away, right? Like, you know, just barking, barking, barking. But as soon as they reach out towards him or, like, take a step towards him, he's suddenly skedaddling away, terrified. Because in reality, he's a big baby. He's not a big, scary dog. Like, he sounds like a big, scary dog. But he is the biggest baby on the planet. And he's just decided that all of the yards around our yard is actually his yard. When it's not. So he likes to hoot and holler and take off sometimes. So I really have to keep an eye on him. Bingus doesn't care. Bingus just sniffs. She hangs out in the yard. She knows where our yard is. She doesn't leave it. Usually. Sometimes Forrest gets her to leave the yard and then it's a whole problem. Or like the neighbors will come out and they'll say hi to her. So she'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go get pets. Which that's fine. You know, the neighbors are calling her over to say hi. I don't mind that. If they want to say hi to her and she wants to go get pets, I'm not going to complain. As long as she's not going on properties that aren't ours when she's not supposed to be, and as long as she's not running into the road, we're good. You know? She's usually good about that. Yeah, you have fun. Don't worry about it. Have fun wherever you're going. Do all of the adventures. We will probably still be here. I am like a quarter of the way through sewing this foot cuff, and I have 4 of them to do. Which I do not think we're going to get them all done today. I just don't think that's in the cards. It's today. Or whatever, you know. We're going to sew until we decide we don't feel like sewing no more. Oh, okay, I see where I came in at. It's like, man, I didn't really stitch there, did I? Itchy nose. I got fur all over me, I'm sure. And it always tickles my nose and stuff. I do, I can feel it. I feel a little fuzzy. I think I got it. Maybe. I don't know. Nope, I did not get whatever piece of fur is currently stuck to my nose. Driving me nuts. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna go fix that, because it's gonna drive me nuts. Alright, problem solved. I no longer have a hair. No longer have a random fur stuck in my nose. Sitting on my shirt, though, which is not much better. There we go. What? We got this, guys. We're gonna get these feet paws Dunyan rings. There's only a little bit work left done on them. And to be quite honest, if I can't trim the feet paws before the con, it's not the end of the world. But it'll definitely, like, I usually try to shave all of this excess fur that's on the bottom. Like, just straight across so it's flat. Just because then there's less fur, you know? Like, it's less to get dirty and less to have to clean, you know? And like as much as I'd like these shave lines to be nicer, I can always go over that with a razor blade if I really care. And that'll help clean it up. It's just easier if I have the clippers. Like I said, I might use Forest's clippers since mine are currently getting fixed. Getting maintained and updated. Just because, like, they're old. I've had those clippers for 3 years now. And the only maintenance I've really done is, like, clipper blade oil and gear lube. But the actual blades themselves really need some maintenance. So, they're getting some TLC for now. Can I help you, sir? He's just staring at me. It is not your dinner time. No. It is not your dinner time. He's a liar. He has half an hour until he's supposed to eat. And he knows it. We eat at the same time every day. He's like, but I want to eat now. Right this minute. Such a glut. Yes, you are. Hi, Bingus. Okay. You also need to shave your ears again. They're getting long. The longer they grow, the more you look like a poodle. Can't believe they'd want to poodle my poodle. I don't know who they is. I'm the one who does his grooming. I just haven't gotten around to shaving his ears again lately. We have to keep his ears short because he's prone to infections. And normally that wouldn't help, but he's also an idiot, and if his ears grow out long enough, he will just lay on the floor and just suck on his ear fur, and then it's wet and it gets in his ears, and it's not great. So yeah, so you got a thing for fur, you little weirdo. So we have to keep his ears short. Plus it keeps him from being like gross and dirty, which is always nice. There you go. We're a quarter of the way there. Whoa, living on a prayer. I am a little sad though that like this gray cuff doesn't actually match any of the gray furs I bought. It's not the right, it's too warm of a gray. A lot of the grays I bought are actually a cool gray, which works for the suits, but the cuffs are a bit of a warm gray. So they're like this is supposed to be the same kind of shade as this gray on the toes. And it is not. It is not, in fact, the same sort of gray. Which is a little sad, but oh well. It's not like it's a super big detail that I really care about, like being super color matched. It's just the cuffs. So, it is what it is. It's kind of hard to color match fabrics online. Come on. There we go. Which I have seen, there is somebody who made a like color reference guide for furs. And it's pretty cool. But it's very limited, And unfortunately, it really is just limited to like some shag colors, and not all colors that come in shag come in like shorter furs, and not all colors that come in shorter furs come in shag. So it's like, and then of course it's spread like most of them are from Howl Fabrics, right? But some of them are from Fursuit Supplies. Some of them are furs from like Big Z and stuff like that. So. Sorry, I had to die real quick. Good lord. Some of the colors, like, it might all be shag furs that you end up finding, but the shag between Howl Fursuit Supplies and Big Z might be all different lengths of shag. It might be all different densities, qualities, like, one of them might be UV and the rest of them aren't, you know? Like, so it really matters what you're looking for. And then, of course, you know, like, stuff like dye lots and stuff like that change. Which I did actually recently have an issue with when I ordered fur from Howl. Not Howl's fault. It was actually my fault, because I was right. The fur I was comparing it to was in fact caramel, but it was Fursuit Supplies' caramel, and that was my mistake. Which is why Howl's caramel looks so freaking light in comparison. But honestly, I'd argue that Howl's caramel is really more of a blonde. Like, it's not a caramel color. It's a really light tan, almost. But, you know, they can call their colors whatever they want to call them. What they sent me is what I ordered, so. Can't complain too much. I just had the wrong swatch that I was comparing it with, and that was a whoopsie on my part. I'm personally a really big fan of the caramel color from Fursuit Supplies, because that is a very, very nice, like, caramelized brown. I'm also a big fan of, like, their seafoam. Ugh, I love their seafoam. Such a pretty color. I will say, though, like, Howl's Terracotta is a really, really pretty, like, red-orange color. Like, there's just... all these companies have a lot of really pretty colors of fur. And the big differences between them is, like, the actual texture quality, the density, stuff like that. Which Fursuit Supplies, Howl, they both have really, really high quality furs compared to a lot of the other companies. Big Z, I find, is kind of hit or miss on fur quality. Because, like, if you get their shorter piles of fur, they're pretty good. It's just hard to get short pile fur from them. Most of their fur, they're good for monster furs. If you want some 4-inch monster fur, they have a lot of 4-inch monster. It's pretty limited in colors, but it's great. They also have a lot of, like, funky colored furs. Like, they have, like, patterned fur, like, animal prints and stuff like that. So that's really fun if that's something that you want to go for. And then also... they have Mochi Minky. They have, like, a lot of your specialty fabrics for fairly affordable prices compared to some of the other companies. Mostly just because, like, I'm based out of the US and they're based out of the US. My issue with a lot of other companies is that when it comes to things like Mochi Minky, it might be affordable for the fabric, but not for the shipping. That's usually the biggest issue, is shipping. But, you know, it is what it is. I want to try something with shoe rubber soon. I'm having a lot of trouble finding affordable rubbers that are actually the right shore for what you need. It's pretty important that you get the shore correct. Otherwise, the rubber will wear down quick, or it'll be plasticky and slippery. We want something that's really rubbery and with a lot of grip that will last a long time. Because the biggest issue I have right now with the EVA bottoms is they are pretty durable. Like, Patch, I've had... his 2.0 suit is 2 years now. And I wear him fairly regularly. But you can already see, like, the difference in the bottoms Granted, these are black and his are gray, so there's a color difference, but that's just the material actually being a different color. But like the actual traction on the EVA has worn down quite a bit, and there's kind of these pock marks in some spots. So it's like I want to get something that has a little bit more durability than the normal standard like EVA foam mats. But these shoes, these feet paws, are not small. Like, this whole pad is the size of my head. It's very hard to find like a roll of rubber with traction on it, with like the actual patterning for traction on the bottom side. That's a large scale. First off, long enough to fit the length of the feet, but also wide enough to do more than just 1 or 2 feet per sheet, you know? That's where a lot of my trouble that I'm getting with it is coming in. And when I do find it, what I end up finding is like, oh, well, it's like 57 inches by 36 inches, right? I was like, okay, that's cool. I could fit like 4 pairs of feet on that. That's not bad. But that roll, that single sheet, is $20, and shipping that sheet is $30. So then just to get 1 sheet shipped to me cost me $50 just for that 1 sheet. And even if I found that even if I order in bulk, most of the time the shipping costs more than the materials itself. So if I buy $300 of rubber, I'm spending another $600 in shipping, which is stupid. I feel like that's not how that should work, especially for rolls that aren't huge. And it's not like it's like the other issue I run into is if I were to use it to completely replace the EVA, I can't do that. Because a lot of these rubbers are only a couple millimeters thick, because they're meant to go on the bottom of wood or, you know, some other surface, because they're meant to go on the bottom of your shoes. This EVA is a 1/4 inch thick, and this is already fairly expensive to get. So it's like I would have to buy EVA anyway to glue the rubber onto. So it's not particularly affordable. But I could still buy the smaller sheets that are like the 8.5s by 11s that are affordable. I could probably get like the slightly bigger ones. And what I could do is I could glue on just toe beans. So like I could put on a large like pad on the bottom of the foot, right? Just glue that on. And I could glue little traction beans. So it would still be the EVA overall, but for extra traction and durability, a little bit of it would be rubber. Plus it'd be like a cute little detail, you know, to do... oh, there we go. To do the beans like that. Like, I feel like it's just a nice little finishing touch. And like I said, it's not particularly thick, so there shouldn't be any issues with it coming on or off. That being said, if I can, it depends on the rubber. I would use E6000 to adhere it, because E6000 is flexible and really durable in comparison. So, you know, it's a whole thing. But... so there's always ideas coming through my noggin about how to like upgrade my suits and make them better quality, or just offer different things to make them better, last longer, stuff like that. Because like I don't think it's something that I would offer as a default just because it's so expensive. And the EVA does work fine. It's not super bad. You get decent enough traction in the EVA, but if you're like on a slippery surface or something, it's not amazing. Like at MFF when we went, there was a lot of humidity and the heaters kicking on and off in the sky bridges, to the point that it was basically a slip and slide of water. Like, it was dripping down the walls, it was all over the floor, just all of the humidity had condensed and dripped down, and actually caused some water damage from what I remember, because there was so much of it. So it's like, that was very dangerous for a lot of suitors to go through because of the slipping and falling with EVA. It wasn't so bad if you had like actual shoes, but... when you're in a fursuit, you know? Especially when you can't see. It doesn't help either. So I would like to like offer it as like an upgrade at least, because, you know, not everybody might be able to afford that sort of thing, but for those who can and who want it, it's definitely better. But I'd have to figure out how much it actually costs to do that, like, per set of feet. And if it's cheap enough, I might honestly just do it as a default for my outdoor feet. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I think it'd be like a neat little detail, as well as like a good way to add traction without breaking the bank with doing a full sheet of rubber. Plus I can get like different colors. They do offer the rubber sheets. Not in a whole lot of colors. It's mostly like, oh, pink or blue or black or brown. Like they do a lot of shades of brown. But if I could at least get like the black and the pink, we can like choose between black and pink beans. Excuse me. Getting a dry throat over here. Doing all this talking. Even the little bit of hydration isn't helping. But that's another thing too, is like the EVA by weight is so much lighter than the rubber. So doing a full sheet of rubber would be really heavy. Kind of like when you do silicone beans, or like silicone in a suit in general, it's really heavy. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I definitely think doing the beans is the better, like the nice middle-of-the-road alternative for traction and durability. Without like compromising too much on weight and things like that. And Baby Mans is over here taking a nap on the floor. Don't worry guys, we're halfway through. Halfway through sewing this one paw. There we go. I'm just trying to set it up in a way where I can reach the cuff easier, now that we're kind of like the awkward part of the shoe. Oh, and then I do have to order, I think I'm going to have to order some, I say I think, I know I'm going to have to order some 3D filament, because I don't have any cream filament. I looked up for my filament. It used to sit up here on a rack, but I actually I 3D printed a new rack holder to sit it on top of the 3D printer instead. So, huzzah! We're learning, we're doing things. There we go. But I know I'm going to have to order some more filament and some more fragrances. We're upgrading our fursuit sprays once again. So I think we're getting a total of like 12 new fragrances that we can use. A lot of earthy scents, stuff like that, but we also got a lot of sweet scents that came in. Like we got red cherry and stuff like that now. Which means I have to make, I have to make new fragrance squares. Gosh darn it. That's what I get. That's what I get for buying new smells. I usually do swatches of smells because when you spray the fursuit spray, the alcohol is oftentimes really overpowering. So it's like I don't want to, you know, have them spray it and not smell the fragrance, even though the fragrance does last really well. It's just when you initially spray, the alcohol tends to be a lot, and then it kind of dissipates and you smell the fragrance afterwards. So it's just easier for people if I can put a drop or two on a cut of fabric and label it, you know. Like the cinnamon's a really strong one and stuff like that. There we go. We're getting there. We're sewing. We're doing the thing. We're doing it! We're doing it! I'm trying to... We're almost done with this foot, which is nice. But... I might actually be able to get a full set of feet paws done today, aside from the trimming, obviously. If not both sets of feet. Yay! But probably not on stream. I think I'm kind of running out of steam. Like... Getting a little eepy, might take a nap, might feeling pretty, might do some stuff later. I don't know. Plus, it is dinner time. We're getting up to dinner time, so yes, we're getting up to dinner time. The dogs heard it; they know what dinner is, and they're very excited about it. So I might actually stop here at 5, and I think we'll go chill, do a raid, and just kind of go from there. But let's see here, what's today? Today's Tuesday, because we didn't stream yesterday on Monday. This is kind of the makeup stream for that. Especially since I really felt like streaming today. Usually I don't stream this long. But, you know, I was having a good day, so I felt like it. I think we can... call this pretty good for today. We'll go on our raid and we'll stream tomorrow. I think tomorrow we'll actually end up doing a gaming stream. And I'm thinking we'll take a break from PC gaming. I want to try. I'm gonna have to see how well it actually works. I want to play PlayStation 2. Because I do have the original Spyro games. Specifically just the first game. Now, I don't know why I said games plural. I have the original Spyro, and I've never beaten it, but I finally got a save card that will work with it. And I do have a capture device now, so we could stream Spyro. And I think that would be a lot of fun. Plus, hopefully it wouldn't take up so much of my CPU and my GPU to do it. Because that's usually the issue I run into when gaming on my computer, is that my laptop is not made for it. It is so slow and sad. So we're just gonna call it good. And we'll brain hole. I forgot. I was talking about something. Oh, we'll play that if it works. If it works, that's the important thing. Is I gotta get it to work. I need to make sure that save card works and that it actually casts to my computer for me to stream it. But I think that would be fun to do some more gaming. I would like to make Wednesdays kind of the gaming day. Just that it kind of gives me a break from streaming back to back with like IRL stuff. I would also like to stream some more Repo again, but my Wi-Fi has been really fiddly lately with that. I don't know what it is, but it's just not working lately. So we'll have to see, and we'll find out. But I would definitely like to finally beat Spyro. After all these years, I've had that game since I was a kid, and I never got to beating it. So, and then there's some other games too. Like I have the Pets Dogs for the PlayStation, which is not the same as Pets Dogs for the game for like the DS and stuff. Like at all, it's not even close. I don't know why they decided that one needed to be different specifically, but it is. And then I have other games like the B-Movie game and stuff like that. So. Some fishing games that I don't really understand how to play, but, you know. Lots of PlayStation games. I would like to play the PlayStation. We could also do the Wii. I do have a lot of Wii games. We could play, like, Super Mario Bros. For the Wii, stuff like that. I think it'd be a lot of fun to stream those games. But as for today, you know, we're sewing. We're calling it good. And I'm almost done with this cuff. It's just really, the cuffs are so slow to work up. They always are, which is part of why I don't like doing them. Like, this is just one foot, you know, and we're still not done with this one part of this one foot. And it's such a small part of the foot that takes so long, you know? So, I really like when I have something to do while I'm also like sewing, just because this is all I got really. Like I have to focus really hard on the stitching, and talking at the same time as the sewing is difficult, and it's so slow. Like it's not. I would argue that this is not a particularly entertaining part of suit making to watch. If anything, it's probably the least entertaining. But it's also why I don't really like doing it. But we'll see. I do also, before we go to the con, I want to do, like, the armbands and the triangles for the suits. But those are going to be pins that have been embroidered is what they're going to be. Which is kind of hard to explain. Because we're going to use the same fabric that we used on the toe bean, on the beans and the ears, the blue, to make the triangles and the armband. But the triangles I want to turn into pins. I do have pin backings. I don't know how many I have, though. Kind of limited, I know that much. And I would need at least probably 2 per triangle, like one on the top, one on the bottom. So, oh, big stretch, baby mans. Yeah, that was a big stretch. So I would need... I want to make sure that they stay on well, is the important part. And I need to make sure that the fabric doesn't stretch and get all wonky. Which is why we have the iron-on stabilizer and stuff. But then we're also just going to like embroider a outline onto the material. And how I do that? We'll find out. We'll base it off the actual character design. We'll figure out what we're doing with that specifically. It might just be a case of I have to do a pin backing through, like we're going to stitch a triangle and fold it over and close the hole type deal, rather than doing a satin stitch around the outside. It just depends on what it actually looks like. And then, of course, we're going to, like I said, we're going to use E6000 to glue the backings on, because I know that that works really well for gluing onto the embroidery backing. And then for the armbands, it's going to be a stretchy fabric, so what I'll do is I'll measure our bicep circumferences, and I will stitch to that size, or at least a little tiny bit bigger. I might even Velcro it, to be honest. I might make it Velcro. We'll see. We'll see what my plans are for it. Again, it depends on the actual character design, because if there is like a border on the actual character design, then I'll have to stitch a border. But otherwise, I might just stitch it as a rectangular piece of fabric. You know, flip it out, stuff like that. And then it would stretch, so I wouldn't have to do Velcro, because it's a stretchy material, if that makes sense. So it could be nice and snug without having to do anything extra. And actually, I do need to snip that. Oh, big stretch, Bingo. Bingus is stretching. Oh, I know it. You're like so rough. We're almost done though, with this one foot. Now that it's 5 o'clock. Surprised the dogs aren't up and at him trying to bug me to feed him already. Baby man's is napping real good right now though, so I like to let him nap when I can, because the rest of the day he's just up and bugging me all day long. There we go. I just gotta get over this weird... There's always this weird lumpy part at the ends of cuffs because there's so much fabric bunched up there. And it's really difficult sometimes to like smooth it out and make it look nice. But that's just because this is where like all the seams are meeting up, is right here. Because we've got the seams from the cotton fabric, we've got the seams from the fur fabric, and then we've got the overlap of the actual bias tape over itself. And that's usually what causes this weird lumpy effect. Makes it really thick. But I should be able to get this to look pretty smooth. You wouldn't even notice when you first look at it, type deal. There we go. Ooh, we don't want that. There we go. I'm also trying to keep the extra fabric tucked in because we don't want that sticking out anywhere. That would suck. Oh, there we go. What are you licking? What are you licking for? There we go. Got it. And almost. Just gotta feed it through. Snip. And there we go. There's our one cuff on our one foot. And he does still need a little bit of stuffing. But that is what one mostly done foot looks like. He also needs a little bit of trimming on the back to hide his zipper a bit more. But that is a future us problem. So I am going to get us going on a raid. I did unplug the hot glue gun, right? I did. Okay. I will get us going on a raid. And I will see you guys tomorrow for what is hopefully a gaming stream. So, bye-bye.